Fondy at the plate. Starting his 7th year as an umpire in the National League. Warnicki at first. He's starting his 7th year, too. Corey at second. Starting his 4th year. Starting his what? 20th year. Larry Getz is starting his 20th year as a National League umpire. So who said umpires don't live long? Boy, they're still pouring in out here at Wrigley Field, and the sun is trying to break through now. It rained here yesterday, we understand. We had that rain over Cincinnati, too. And more rain is forecast in Chicago this afternoon than it was earlier today. How the way things look now, it's going to be far off. Manager Stan Heck and Eddie Stanker out of home plate discussing the ground rules with the 4 umpires, 3 photographers down there, movie camera photographers. I think with ground equipment, I'm not sure. And around the infield, we got the Fondy at first, Baker at second, Banks at short, and Jackson at third. The outfield, Starr in left, Gail Wade in center, Frankie Baumholz in right. The umpires are still discussing the ground rules. Meanwhile, Harry Peavy and Paul Minner got them around along with Branson Jackson. I think it's going to be a good thing that we have Gene Elston and Jack Quinlan around in the head, because I don't know how long this road is going to hold up after yesterday's 2-hour, 22-minute ball game. Umpire Scully just brushes off the plate with a whisk broom, and we're about ready to get this ball game underway. Even the umpires having his picture taken down here in the movie cameras. John Warnicki walks down to first base along with the second base umpire, Frank Ciccori. Both Ciccori and Warnicki, incidentally, are former Cubs. Warnicki was a former Cardinal, too. Paul Minner won 11 and lost 11 last year. He took 4 out of 5 from the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cubs took the season series from the Cards last year, 14 games to 8. And the opening game of the year was played here at Wrigley Field. We beat the Cardinals 13-4. Here is Wally Moon, last year's Rookie of the Year. Wally Moon coming into the batter's box. He had 304 and 12 homers last year. The first pitch looked like he was going to bunt. It was high and inside, and he left it go by for ball 1. 1-0. Long call, Paul Minner on that handed. Jackson playing off the line instead of the edge of the infield grass. Now looking down to get the sign again. The infield is drawn in a little bit. A fast man up at the plate. He's the windup. The next pitch, the ground ball between first and second. Fondy comes up. The pitcher's coming. There's the throw. He is out. Got it. 1 away. A ground ball to Dee Fondy, who tossed to the pitcher Minner, who covered, and it's 1 away. That brings up Bill Burton, a rookie up from Rochester, where he has scored .333 and 22 homers and 98 runs batted in. He's from West Point, Missouri now. Well, he was born in Hazel Park, Michigan. Infield about straight away. Ball looks down to get the side, and it starts into the windup motion. Here comes the pitch to Bill Burton with the ball a little offside out around his knees. It's ball 1. 1-0. Well, the Cubs won yesterday. We're leading the National League right at the moment, and we'll continue to do so if they win today, of course. Milwaukee and Cincinnati, the only game left in the National League. There's a swing and a line drive. Banks takes a stop, the throw. He is safe. A beautiful play by Banks. Ernie Banks made a terrific play to his left behind second base, and through Burton, who was very fast, beat it out for a base hit. Beautiful play by Banks, however. Made an almost impossible stop on that ball. His throw was a fraction of a second too late. That brings up the first baseman, Stan the Man. Gilgill is listed as an outfielder, and he hasn't got most of his career, although he has played quite a bit of first base. The league is loaded with good first basemen this year. There's a throw to first base. Burton is knocked on the back. Gilgill last year at .330. 35 homers and 126 runs batted in. Here's the stretch. The next pitch. Line drive to the right field foul line for a fair ball in the corner. There's Burt racing around second on the way to third. He's rounding third on the way home. Hughes rounding second. There's a throw to third. And he holds up at second base with a line drive double to the right field corner. Just inches there. And a run is in. Stanley Musial lined a double to the extreme right field corner. The ball was just inches inside the foul line. And a run is in. As Stan the Man gets his first hit of 1955. That brings up Rip Rapolsky, the right fielder. Rapolsky hit 283 for the Cubs last year for the Cardinals with 19 homers and 79 runs batted in. Runner on second base now with one run across the first inning, and the Cubs are winding up like Bubba Church. Hitter's ready. Here's the pitch. The wide went up around his shoulders for a ball. It's ball one. The Giants-Philly game, the Pittsburgh-Brooklyn game, and the Washington-Yankee game all rained out today. Sox are opening in Cleveland, Boston at Baltimore, and Detroit at Kansas City. Cincinnati's up at Milwaukee at County Stadium. Ball one, no strike there. Here's the pitch. It's high and outside for a ball. Makes it ball two. 2-0 now. Ball two, no strike. Hitter having a little control trouble. Long tall ball is ready again. A foul ball up to the right. Speedy's going over. He's calling for it. And that's it. We're out number two. Harry Speedy caught that. Here's Red Davies now. The redhead is 315 at 5 homers and 79 runs batted in last year. Here is a great little ball player. Hillfield's on second base. One run in the top of the first inning. And Red Davies, the batter's box. Center having just a little trouble. An infield hit and a good solid line drive double. Here's the pitch. It's a ball that went outside. Ball one. Ball one, no strike. Well, the Cardinals have jumped out in front here in the very first inning. However, this is just the first inning, so it's a long way to go. From what we've seen so far this year, one run doesn't mean it's great. There's a flag on the outside corner of the scene. Davies watched the ball go by. 1-1. Paul Menner, who usually doesn't have too much trouble with the Cardinals, has got a little trouble with Burden and Musial. He won't be the last one to have any trouble with him either. Ball one, strike one. There's the next pitch to Chambers. Batting right-handed, he's going to punch out a pitch. He's blowing outside for ball two, and the count is 2-1. Ball two and strike one to Chambers. Number two in the back of his great traveling uniform. Boy, this kid is a great little ball player. He and Musial are roommates when they're on their road trip. There's the windup. The next pitch is a ground ball to Jackson. He's up with the ball. There's the peg over to first base. He is out. Well, went from third to first, and it's one run and 2 hits. No errors, one man left on. And the score at the end of the top half of the first inning out here at Wrigley Field, Chicago. One for the St. Louis Cardinals. Broadcast coming to you from the Midwest Baseball Network. You know, friends, it's a great pleasure indeed to be bringing these Cubs broadcasts to you for the General Finance Loan Company. Personally, I'd like to say how happy we are to be associated with Brian Kuhn, Ray Titus, Al Wunderlich, Jack Chapline, Dick Strickman, Bob Adams, and all the General Finance Loan Company people. Because a nicer bunch you'll never meet, believe me. They are your friends as well as ours. General Finance Loan Company is a splendid organization. Always there when you need it. That's what folks say about Bob Adams. He stands by at that General Finance Loan by phone number and over 30073. Whatever General Finance Loan Company brings you the ball. Well, there, my friends, just by a simple phone call, you can get the best service on a loan in all of Chicago. If you need $25 50, 100, 300 or more, why don't you just call friendly Bob Adams right now? And over 30073. He's standing by at that phone number right now for your telephone call. Last time of the first inning, Gale Wade will be the leadoff man. Wade had nothing for 3 yesterday. He sacrificed and walked. So he was on 1 time. Gus Lawrence has finished his practice throws. And we're ready to go. Lawrence had a 15-6 record in his rookie year last year. He's a big right-handed pitcher. He's got a world of stuff out there, and he's tough. Here's Gale Wade, a rookie center fielder up for the Chicago Cubs to try to get that run back in the last half of the first year, looking for his first major league hit. Lawrence goes into the windup. There's the first pitch, a ball inside on around the 8th, and it's ball 1. 1-0. Wade goes for a big handful of dirt. Bob Sheffy coaching at third, manager Stan Hack at third. Hack, I noticed, has been coaching at third for the first and just stuck in the first 2 innings or so, and then going back to sit on the bench and letting razor blades take over. Ball 1, no strike. There's the windup, the next pitch, and it's a wide one for ball 2. 2-0 now. Harry Terry, who broadcast along with Joe Garciola for St. Louis, tells me that Lawrence is looking mighty good this spring. Ball 2 and no strike. Waits the batter. Baker down in 1 knee to the left. He's going to come up next and be followed by Pablo. Here's the windup, the next pitch. Way inside. He has to come back out of the way, and it's 3-0 to Wade. He carries the ball out in front of the plate and throws it back to Lawrence. He goes to the rosin bag. Ball 3 and no strike. Another batter will put him on. Now Lawrence is ready again. Watch it now. Here's that 3-0 pitch. He got that one over the automatic strike to make it 3-1. Ball 3 and strike 1. Nobody out, nobody on. The last out of the first. St. Louis won. The Cubs nothing. Lawrence ready again. Here's the windup the next pitch. Ball 4 is blowing inside. Lost it. The first man up for the Cubs gets the base on ball. That brings up T.D. Baker. Tito, as Stan calls him. He had a home run and a double yesterday, and he was up 4 times officially. Here's Baker. The bango of the bingo, the bango, the Fondy double play combination this year. Lawrence now, robbed of the windup. Goes into the stretch. Here comes the pitch, and it's a flag fastball behind the outside corner. Baker is the first player in the National League to get a home run this year. He got both Cincinnati yesterday. His second time up. There's the stretch of butt out in front of the plate. Foul ball. The ball bounced up and hit him as it had been buried if it out. It hit him in fair territory, but the ball itself was foul in the first place, and it's strike 2. So it's nothing and 2 count of the batter. Gale Wade on first on a walk. Baker's trying to bunt him around there. On that particular pitch anyway. He might have been bunting. Probably was for a base hit. Lawrence looks down to get that shot. He has extremely long arms. There's a throw to first, and Wade had to dive back in head first, and he made it. And Dilsey returns the ball to Lawrence out of the pitcher's side. Boys talking it up. There's the stretch by Lawrence again. Wade takes the lead off, wiggles around a little bit, but backs up towards first. Baker backs out of the batter's box. Time is called. Lawrence is off the hill. Everybody's out. Strike 2 count. Here comes the next pitch. Baker takes strike 3. Down high on the inside front of the plate, and he didn't like it. Baker is called out on strike. He tells umpire not sorry about it. He didn't like it, but he's out. You know who the winner is there. Here's Bible to something to 5 yesterday. He's about due. Boys, there's a swell crowd out here today. Pretty well loaded downstairs. The bleachers are overflowing. ball. Left-hand hitter. He'll wait on first base. Brooks Lawrence goes into the stretch, keeping an eye on the runner. There's a line drive to left center for a base hit. Center fielder goes over to cut it off. There's Wade racing around the third base. The throw is into second. And Bobo's gets his first hit of the season. A line drive single into left center field. Bird is fielding the ball. And Wade raced to third. So we're off and running. Now it's up to Hank Sauer to at least tie it up here. Henry had 1 for 4 yesterday. That was a double and drove in a run for 7. Hank Sauer steps into the batter's box. Number 9 in the back of his white home uniform. Bob Oates on first. Gail Wade on third. 1-0 St. Louis and 1 out. Sauer takes the bat and low and outside for a ball. Ball 1. 1-0. Cameron Hayes batting in the last half of the first inning. Sauer has just familiar number 9 in the back of his white home uniform, and he backed out possession on him. Now he's back in there. Ball 1, no strike count. Lawrence works slowly, is ready. Here's the next pitch. Another ball low and outside. Fairly trying to pitch him on the outside corner and keep it low. And he's missing. So it's ball 2 and no strikes. And Bill Sutton calls time. Runs out towards the pitcher's mound and talks to Lawrence. Trying to send him down a little bit. Ransom Jackson standing over the left of the plate, waving the bat around and watching Lawrence. Some didn't have any luck against Lawrence at all last year as they lost 3 of the games that he pitched against them. There's a little lefty starting to warm up in the bullpen. Looks like Schultz. Also Frank Smith is in the bullpen. Ball 3 is blowing outside. 3-0 now. The man will load him up. Ball 3 and no strike. Hank Sauer backs away for a moment. Lawrence is way behind Henry. Bob Oates is on first. Gail Wade is on third. Sauer's waving that bat around. Lawrence goes into the stretch. Here's the pitch. There's a long drive. It's going to be out of the ballpark, I think. The left fielder back by the wall. Oh, he jumped the punt. He jumped the ball. He jumped it. One runner's going to score. There's Bob Oates going to third. And the left fielder reached way up almost to the top of the wall and got a hold of the ball, but he couldn't hang on to it. He dropped it, although he tried to hide it from the umpires. The third base umpire indicated that he had dropped the ball, so Sauer gets a double. I thought the ball was going to go out when it started out. It was hit number 2 off Lawrence and run number 1. The captain tied it up, and Jackson has a chance to put the Cubs out in front. A double by Sauer, his second run batted in this year. Handsome Ransom Jackson steps in. Bob Oates on third. Sauer on second. Here comes the pitch. They're going to walk in. Jackson walked intentionally, and the fans don't like it. It'll be the second walk off Brooks Lawrence. Jackson had 1 for 4 yesterday, a single. Ball 2 away outside. Now the stretch again. Here comes ball 3. 1 more and he'll be off. Ball 3, no strike. Jackson will walk again at Ernie Banks. This is like stepping from the frying pan into the fire. There's ball 4. The bases are loaded. Here's Ernie. 1 for 4 yesterday. Now the second baseman Davies runs into the 50-pound and talks to Brooks Lawrence. Bob Shepard goes over to talk to Jackson. The Cubs have the bases jammed up like ducks on a pond with only 1 man out. And Ernie Banks ready to step into the batter's box. Schultz and Smith warming up. Pitcher looking down to get the sign. Goes into the wind-up motion. Here's the pitch to Ernie. It's the ball in the dirt. Nice stop by Sandy. He went down to his right knee to make sure of the stop on that. on the ball, apparently. He rubs it up, throws it back to the pitcher. Lawrence is going to do the same thing now. Giants, Phillies, Pittsburgh, Brooklyn games are rained out on the East as so is the Washington Yankee game in New York. Ball one, no strike. Let's have a great scoring opportunity here in the last half of the first inning. There's the windup of the next pitch. Dirty big ball, too, is blown out. He walks out in front of the plate, takes that ball back. Ball two, no strike count. Ernie Banks batting, Dee Fondy on deck. Some murderer's row out there. We have Jackson on first, Bauer on second, and Bob Holt on third. Mark's working very slowly and very carefully, trying to work his way out of this jam. There's the windup again. Here comes the next pitch. Almost hit him, but ball three away. 3-0 now, Ernie. Another bad one will force in a run. Saw Lawrence look over at the Cub dugout. The boys are probably riding him a little. Bothering him, apparently. Ball three and no strikes. LaPalm is the lefty warming up in the bullpen. Here's the windup. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Ball four. Walked it, forcing in a run. Ernie Banks tries to run in without taking his bat off his shoulder. Bob Holt scoring. Bases are still loaded. And the Cubs have taken over the lead now, 2-1. Here's Dee Fondy, a left-handed batter. Fondy had 3 for 4 yesterday, 2 doubles and a single. Left-hand hitters. Bases are jammed up like ducks on a pond. 2 runs in. Dee Fondy, number 40, with the bat waving across the plate. Lawrence starts to wind up as Bauer breaks towards the plate. There's a line drive to right center for a base hit. It's going all the way to the wall. 1 run, 2 runs. They're waiting. Ernie Banks gone in. Here he comes. There's a runner down. He's second on the way to third. There's a throw. Strike. He's out at third with 3 runs scored. Dee Fondy lined a double. The second baseman changing relay of the right fielder's throw was perfect to the third baseman Boyer. And Fondy was out, but he got the double on the play to drive in 3 runs. Fondy's 4th hit of the year. Hit number 3, runs number 2, 3, 4, and 5 off Brookline. And here comes manager Eddie Shaggy, and I think that will be all for Lawrence. Looks like they're going to take him out. And they short work of Brooks. It was only a perfect relay to Boyer by changing to pick Fondy off at third base, trying to stretch a double into a triple, but he cleaned off the base paths, and that was the important thing. And it sends Brookline to the showers, with the Cubs leading 5-1. This is George Warren Schultz coming in. He was born August 15, 1926 in Beverly, New Jersey. His nickname is Barney Schultz. The relief pitcher last season at Columbus, Ohio, that is. Barney had an 8-8 record after 41 appearances. Their run average was 3.86. He was Columbus, Ohio last year. So there goes Lawrence to the showers. He hasn't fared as well against the Cubs in the first inning as he did all the games he pitched against them last year. Keeley will be the first man to face Barney Schultz. Barney Schultz. Lawrence passes for 2/3 of an inning. Gave up 3 hits and 5 runs and walked 3. One of them an intentional pass to Jackson. Again at Banks, who also walked unintentionally. And then finally lined that double. Well, Keeley's going to step in a minute. The White Sox nothing. Cleveland batting in the last half of the first inning. Bucks against Levin. Boston Red Sox 3, Baltimore nothing during the last half of the third. Washington Yankee game was rained out. Here's Harry Seeley. Harry had a double and a home run in 4 trips yesterday. outside corner, letter high. Our good friend Al Wonderlich up here saying hello this afternoon. The strike one count. Here's the windup, the next pitch, and it's a ball low and outside, leaving the count at 1-1. Ball one, strike one. Well, for a guy with weak pipes, we're starting off with exciting vein this afternoon, I'll say that. Here's the windup. 5 runs in. Here comes the next pitch. Dee takes a ball that's high inside. It's 2-1 down. 2 out. Harry Sheedy, number 32. Kid looks like he's going to be a real catcher for the Cubs. And he's only 22. He's out of the Army, just got out of December. Ball 2 and strike 1. Here's the next pitch. There's a strike. Right on him on the outside corner about letter high to even the count at 2-2. Ball 2 and strike 2. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing today, fans, we sincerely hope you're enjoying the broadcast of the ball game. Especially you shut-ins who can't get out. Gala occasion opening day here at the world's most beautiful ballpark. Ball 2 and strike 2. Here's the windup now. The next pitch. Speedy takes it very wide. The full count of 3-2. Almost got away. At one time, I understand this still used to belong to the Cubs. Ball 3 and strike 2. Here's the windup. The next pitch. Strike 3. Struck him out. Struck the outside corner about well high. He's called out on strike. So Schultz came in and put out the fire. 5 runs scored. 3 hits. No errors and nobody left on. At the end of the first inning at Wrigley Field in Chicago, the score is the Chicago Cubs 5 and the St. Louis Cardinals 1. Broadcast is coming to you from WIND in Chicago, and the daily news schedule of newscasts on the hour will be resumed following the ball game. There goes Paul Minner at the 4-run margin to work on now. Let's hope he can hold it. Well, we have people from all over out here this afternoon. Everybody likes to attend opening day. And most people like to see a lot more games during the season, too. We hope you will. Mr. C.M. Beverly, who hasn't missed an opening day game for nearly 30 years, out here taking in the ball game today. 62 avid Cubs fans, the Waldorf College Choir from Forest City, Iowa, out here at the ball game this afternoon. The second inning is coming up. Paul Minner's about to get his practice throws, and the little left-hander, LaPalm, who was in there, is still talking with his practice throws down in the bullpen. I don't know whether they expect to take out Schultz for a pinch hitter or not if they get that far. There's the peg down to Baker. It's stuck over the bench. It's short to Jackson in third and back to the pitcher. Umpire Dan Scully brushes off the plate with a whisper over, ready to go. The Cubs are idle tomorrow. We catch a night train tomorrow night. The same one we took Sunday night. Go down to Cincinnati again. We play the Red Legs on Thursday. Friday's an open day. We play the Cardinals down in St. Louis on Saturday, the doubleheader next Sunday. Then we go up to Milwaukee for Monday and Tuesday and back home again. Here's the right-handed batter, Bill Sardi, in the batter's box. And he just took a strike, and he had a Boyer runner, Ted Boyer, who originally was a shortstop. They made a pitcher out of him. He couldn't quite make the grade with the Cardinals. And they converted him into a third baseman, and he tell me that he's looked great this team. Ted Boyer. There's the windup, the next pitch. There is a ball that's low outside. He was counted 1-1. Ball 1 and strike 1. Right-hand hitter. Ted Boyer, number 14. Bill Sonny will back next. They're down at the tail end of the batting order. Here's Minner's wind up. The fast turn will get high to right field. Ramos is running over, pulling down his sunglasses, dropping back a little bit. He's under it and has it for out number 1. A fly ball to Marbles over towards the foul line in right field. It's 1 away. Brings up Bill Sardi, the catcher. Sardi, for the Cardinals last year, hit an even 300, had 9 homers and 70 runs batted in. We may have a pinch hitter now after Sardi. And Paul LaPalm looks there. That is if Sardi gets on. Otherwise, Schultz probably will stay in there. There's the windup of the first pitch. A high fly ball in the short left field. Banks is yelling for him. He's dropping back, waving everybody away. He's under it. He has it, and it's 2 out. 2 up and 2 down for the Cardinals in the first half of the second inning. And it brings up Alex Gramus, who up there. Gramus, the middle pitcher. Gramus batted in the 8th position of the batting order. Ryan Ennis, number 4 on the back of his gray traveling uniform. Infielders around the left. Ball hitter goes into the windup. Here comes the pitch, and there's a ball that's outside. Ball 1. Right-hand hitter Alex Gramus. Long ball gets ready again. Here's the next pitch, and Gramus takes a flag. It's knee high and right over the line of the plate. So even the count is 1-1. Dee steps to the left, throws the ball back to Vitters. Comes battling the Cardinals opening day at Wrigley Field. A crowd of around 27,000, I'm going to guess, maybe more, 28. Ball 1, strike 1. Wind up on the next pitch, and it's low outside curveball, 2-1 now. Dixie Walker, former Brooklyn Stars, the coach at first base. And Little is coach at the third. Ball 2 is strike 1. They wind up the next pitch. There's a fly ball to right field. Bobby dropping back to his right. He's calling for it now, and he has it to the side of the front. All with 3 up and 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on. We're going into the last half of the second inning at Wrigley Field in Chicago. With the score out here, 5-1 in favor of the Chicago Cubs to broadcast the Midwest Baseball Network. WIMD Chicago, the new schedule of newscasts on the hour will resume following the ball game. Say, if the income tax payments coming up along with all those other bills, doctors, dentists, are giving you a hard time, why don't you get the extra $25 to $500 you need in general financial income? You know, you can clean up those bills, get the income tax payment off your shoulders, and you can do it easily and quickly. You know, you're good for a loan anytime in general finance. Oh, it's really wonderful because all you do is make one phone call. Magic number is hand over 30073. Tell friendly Bob Adams how much you want. He makes the arrangement. You pick up the cash at the friendly General Finance Loan Company office there. There's 25 of them in Chicago suburb. All listed on page 638 in your phone book. Here's that dependable General Finance Loan by phone number again. Hand over 30073. Half of the second coming up. 5-1. Cubs lead. They'll beat the Cincinnati Red Leg Jets in the afternoon. 7-5 over at Cincinnati. Wants to stay up on top of the National League. Not only the early part of the season, but right on down to the end. Here's the pitch to Vitters. And a jump back out of the way. It's ball 1. Vitters also started his career like Ken Boyer as an infielder, although then he was converted to a pitcher, and he's never gone back to the infield or outfield. Ball 1, no strike yet. A swing and a miss, and he went all the way around. Vitters stirs up a lot of fresh air around Wrigley Field. The 1-1 count. Cleveland leading the White Sox 2-0 at the end of the first inning. Ball 1 and strike 1. The windup by Schultz, and it's away inside. Right, he just got up with a barrel. It's on 2-1 now. 5-1. Chicago out in front. Last half of the second inning. It's the ball to strike 1 count. Long call ball. Pennsylvania. Schultz winds up again. Here's the next pitch. It's strike 2 all the way back down the line. The ball is in there. Ball is being replaced there, but 2-2 count. The hits are almost even up. St. Louis is 3-2. The Cubs have 3. Ball 2 and strike 2. Down the wind up again. Here comes the next pitch. There's a line drive to left field for a good solid base hit. The left fielder fires that ball back in. That's Wally Moon out there. And Benner is on. He's going to put on his jacket, I believe. Al Schuneman, the trainer, is going to bring the jacket out to Billy Phillips, the bat boy. Billy's starting his first year as a Cub bat boy today. Although he worked in the Cub White Sox series. Hit number 1 off, Barney Schultz. He's up the away. Billy Phillips, the 13th. He's a 7th grade student at Edgewood Junior High School in Highland Park, Illinois. This is William C. Phillips of Highland Park. So Minner has his jacket on now. And Gale Wade, who walked and started off that 5-run rally in the first inning, is going to step into the batter's box to face Barney Schultz. Well, we hope you're enjoying the broadcast. It started out with a big bang out here at Wrigley Field. Here comes the pitch. There's a bunt and it's foul. Going back to the backstop, and Pat Piper goes over to get it. Pat is starting his 52nd year as a member of the Cub organization. Most of that time as the announcer, field announcer, that is. That's a long, long time. Pat is 69 and will be 70, of course, his next birthday. Gale Wade, the left-hand batter. Paul Minner on first base takes the lead off. There's the stretch. Here comes the pitch. Play takes a curve at the way outside. Again, he looked like he was bunting, but the count is 1-1. Ball 1 and strike 1. Gale started out back in 1947 with Ponca City. Kicked all around with Indianapolis last year. He hit 273. He's been in the game for quite a while at that. They call him Pet. He wears a cowboy hat all the time. Here's the stretch. The next pitch, and it's very wide for a ball. 2-1. Seen him come into the hotel lobby in Evans Plaza over there in Cincinnati. I'd never seen him when he was dressed up like that before. And he looked like somebody ducked in from Arizona and parked his horse outside someplace. Ball 2 and strike 1. Wade's waving that bat across the plate. Minner takes the lead off. Here comes the next pitch, and it's very high and wide for a 3-1 count. Barney Schultz having a little control trouble here. Bill Sunny walks out towards the pitcher's mound, rubbing the sight off the ball. And now he takes it back to Schultz out of the pitcher's mound. The infield is drawn in just a step or so. All 3 and strike 1. Gale Wade trying to get a hold of one, and Schultz having a little trouble getting the ball over, so he could hit it. Baker is due to come up next. 5-1, the Cubs lead. There's the stretch. There's the 3-1 pitch. A swing out of this, and he missed that ball a half a foot. He swung over the curve. It's 3-2. All 3 and strike 2. Texas are to rotate Gale Wade and Chip Bolger. Depending upon whether it's a right-hander or a left-hander on the mound. So far, we've been looking at right-handers. So he means if Wade, that left-hander, he gets the call. All 3 at strike 2. Cubs really have a hustling, fighting ball club this year. We've seen them in all the games out in Arizona. And the 2 games with the White Sox, the one over in Cincinnati yesterday. And boy, they're never licked until that last man is out. And the funny part is the opposition hasn't been licked either most of the time. The White Sox series yesterday, and it looked awfully rough in the night. Watch it now. 3-2 pitch. Ball forward. High and outside. He walked it for the second time. Although it took long for walking the first time. The Cubs now have runners on first and second with nobody out. And Razor Blake, who was not coaching at third, called Baker down the line and said something to him. Baker was a strikeout victim on a called third strike his first time up. The Cubs 5, St. Louis 1. And this is the last half of the second. Jacob has now started to warm up for the St. Louis Cardinals. He is a right-hander. Shady came into the mound and dropped the Schultz. Tony Jacob up from Rochester. He won 13 and lost 1 last year. He's warming up in the bullpen. Well, there's Baker. They're going to watch him for a bunt. Rules was playing him to the edge of the grass at first. There's his track. The pitch to Baker. He bucked one down the third base line. It's a beauty. Third base went up with the ball and throw. He's out. Boyer. Nice play, but that was a perfect bunt. Was placed it perfectly. The third baseman Boyle had to make the play, and that pulled him off the bag. So the only play was over at first, so it's a perfect sacrifice. The second baseman took the throw. And now the Cubs have Bravo coming up to bat, who got a line drive signal to keep the rally rolling in the first inning. Runners runners on second and third. One man out. Infield is going to play in rather close. Here's Bobby in the batter's box. Left-hand hitter. Number 7 in the back of his white glove uniform. Score is 5-1 in favor of the Cubs. They have a chance to get at least one more. A sacrifice fly will do the trick. Barney Schultz flags up. Here's the first pitch. Frank had an notion, let the pitch go, and it's right over the heart of the plate. Strike one call. That was a beauty. It is strike one. Frankie hitches up his belt, digs in with his spikes in his left toe, and taps the plate at the end of the bat as he gets ready again. Schultz has his work cut out for him now. There's the windup for next pitch. Frank gets a ground ball through the box and is sent for a base hit. There's a runner rounding third. The throw is going to be in the second base, and 2 more runs are in. A hot strike by Bobo right past the shortstop, Alex Travis, to his left in the second base bag. Went to center field, and by the time Rapolsky came up with the ball, there was no play, and 2 more runs are in. Bobo drives across his first and second runs of the year. Number 2, runs number 1 and 2 on Schultz. The Cubs lead 7-1. They are pouring it on, these Cardinals, this afternoon, and the crowd out here, around 30,000 or so, is loving every second of it so far. Here is Hank Sauer. Runner on first base. Henry's ready. Here's the pitch. There's a strike. It's better high. The inside front of the plate. He doubles and drove in a run the first time up. Big A. Strike one down. Pitcher goes into the motion again as Bobby takes the lead off first base. He's ready. Here comes the next pitch. Henry swings. A letter high curveball that baffled him a little bit. He went for it. It's strike 2. Cubs are ahead 7-1. Here in the last half of the second inning with 1 man out. We now have a total of 5 hits for the Cubs. Bobby edging away. Here's the next pitch. Henry, a little roller foul. He actually didn't mean to hit it at all. He enjoyed the swing, but held up entirely. The ball hit his bat, though, and bounced off the plate. Foul ball. And it's a strike 2 count. Well, this has started out like it's going to be all bigger, and I wish we could all be here today. And a lot of excitement yesterday, and we're certainly getting it so far today. Strike 2 count. This is ready again. Here's the next one. Henry lines one to left field for another base hit. It's going to the wall. There's Bobby racing around second on the way to third. A quick throw in, though, by the left fielder, Wally Wood. Holds it to a long single. Almost to the wall in left field. Here comes Ransom Jackson. A signal by Sauer, his second hit of the ball game. Almost raced to third. Hit number 3 on Schultz, and it brings up Ransom Jackson and Eddie Sankey coming out of the dugout. I imagine that's going to be all for Barney Schultz. Well, the Cubs came out here loaded with base hits and runs so far. It's 7-1 in favor of the Chicago Cubs, and I think they're going to call him Jacob, Tony Jacob. Anthony Robert Jacob. He was born in 6-4, Illinois. Back in 1925, and 5'9". He's a little fellow, weighed 155 pounds. He was with Des Moines, Iowa back in 1947 and 1948. And then with Springfield in 51, 52, and 53, he's another fellow that apparently was in the Cubs farm system. He played for manager Stan Heck when he was managing up at Springfield. Last year was with Rochester, where he had a sensational record, 13 wins and 1 loss, although he was in 61 ball games. None of them complete. He was all in a relief then, or most of it anyway, and his earned run average was 2.91. So it's Jacobs pitching now. Schultz pitched 2/3 of an inning. 3 hits, 2 runs so far. Walked 1 and struck out 1. And Tony Jacobs has been called in. Well, the Cubs are loaded this afternoon. Let's see if they can keep it going. Now, Jackson is walking intensely and scored a run. But Brooks Lawrence is pitching to the first inning. They won't be walking him intentionally now. Here's Jackson with a big number 2 in the left of his white home uniform. Sauer on third, Bob Holt on third. Randy is waiting down there in the batter's box. There's the ball. He almost threw it away. Tony Jacobs' first pitch was a Western baseball record. 13 wins and 1 loss. Although he was in 61 ball games. Or most of it anyway. And his earned run average was 2.91. So it's Jacobs pitching now. Schultz pitched 2/3 of an inning. Allowed 3 hits, 2 runs so far. Walked 1 and struck out 1. And Tony Jacobs has been called in. Well, the Cubs are loaded this afternoon. Let's see if they can keep it going. Now, Jackson has walked intensely and scored a run. But Brooks Lawrence is pitching to the first inning. They won't be walking him intentionally now. Jackson with a big number 2 in the left of his white home uniform. Sauer on first, Bob Holt on third. Randy is waiting down there in the batter's box. There's the ball. He almost threw it away. Tony Jacobs' first pitch was away outside and in the dirt. Ball 1. Ball 1, no strike. Boy, knocking it up around the infield. If you're looking down, Tony Jacobs. That sign again. There's his stretch. Here comes the next pitch. Ball 2 is blowing outside. He's not walking him intensely, but he's just not getting it over. So it's 2-0 now. Well, the Cubs have certainly given Minter something to work on. And Minter himself started this business with a single leading off in the inning. All 2 no strikeouts. And Sorensen. Tony ready again. There's the next pitch. Swing and a miss. And Jackson wasn't fooling. He was going for the downs on that fastball. It's ball 2 and strike 1. The sun is out and all it's glowing, and most of the clouds have disappeared in Chicago now. And it's a beautiful day in Chicago. Fine for opening day. It's about the way it was after the rain went up in Cincinnati yesterday. Well, it was warmer over there than it is here. About 66 degrees at Wrigley Field. Ball 2 and strike 1. Jackson hits the ground ball to the shortstop. Graham is up. He comes up with the ball. Falls down. Everybody's safe. Ball rolled away from him. Let's see how they score that. He made a fine stop. Farther was left and gets a big hit on the play. And a run is in. Randy Jackson gets a hit off Alex Graham's glove. He fell down before he could ever get rid of the ball. And the ball slipped out of his glove. And that's hit number 1 off Jacobs. The runner starts to Schultz. Cubs lead 8-1. Jackson drives the run across. Sauer stopped at second. There's Ernie Banks. Got a walk his first time up. There's the stretch of the pitch. There's a swing and a miss. It's like fun. Ernie went all the way around trying to give it a ride. Boy, talk about excitement, color, and everything else on opening day here at Wrigley Field. There's the next pitch. Ernie hits the ground ball on the third baseline. Boyer's coming in. He picks it up. Falls down. Can't make a play on the bases. They're loaded. Ken Boyer turned his ankle and slipped on the grass in the infield, and the bases are loaded on another base hit. Oh, man. What excitement. I wish my phone were in mid-season form. I could do it justice. I think the official score was a little generous on that. However, they're figuring that he slipped in the grass and twisted his ankle, and he's limping around a little bit. Scored as a base hit, however. This is shades of last year when the Cubs beat up 13-4, I think it was. Everything went wrong for the Cardinals. Hit number 2 off Jacobs. Here's Dee Fondy with the last time up, cleaned off the bases with a double, was outside the stretch into a triple. Dee Fondy in the batter's box. The base is full. Here's the windup of the first pitch to Needle. It's a slide on the inside corner. That's about the strike 1 call. Tony Jacobs got to get a bit to be desired. Although Grambus' play over there was a bad shot to prevent the ball going through. Here's the windup now, the next to the Fondy. Outside for the ball. It's ball one. Fans are standing out here. Hit that ball and we want a homer or something like that. 1-1. Not like a football game. Ball one to the score sounds almost like an 8-1 in favor of the Cubs. Ball one strike on Dee Fondy. Tony Jacobs has his time again. Here's the windup now. The next long windup this time by Tony. Here comes the pitch. Dee is the high fly on the infield. Over near the Cub dugout. Boyer is moving over right in front of the dugout, and he stopped the ball. He fouled the Cub dugout. Ken Boyer drops the foul ball right at the edge of the Cub dugout. He almost fell into the dugout as he attempted to make the catch. So I don't imagine they'll give him any error on it, but it would have been an important out for the Cardinals, that's for sure. No play, they rule it. Fondy gets a new life on that. Ball one, strike two. Well, you never know. Beetle has a chance to clean off the bases again, as he did the first time up in the first inning. He backed foul. He got tired of waiting. Tony Jacobs taking a lot of time. So Fondy backed away for a moment. Ball one, strike two, dead. Beetle's weathering that bat across the plate. Here's the windup now. The next pitch coming in. Fondy looks another high foul back towards the screen. Sardi's chasing back. He can't get that one. Well, Tony must have something on that ball out there because Fondy is getting a piece of it. He's hitting under it. Bob Shepard chasing around the Chelsea box at third. Ball one, strike two. Now the Beatles back to the batter's box again. The infielder box straight away. Goes the outfield. He is not necessarily a full hitter. There's the windup. 1-2 pitches. The line drive. Foul. Into the Cardinal bullpen down the left field line. A line drive foul. Fans down the right field line. Couldn't see where the ball was going. Went up to take a look. Boy, we have a grand turnout for opening day. Around 30,000. And it's coming in. Some of the folks arrived late. But they're pretty well loaded in all the box seats and a lot in the grandstand. I'm waiting for overflow. Ball one, strike two. There's the windup now. The next pitch comes in. He hits the ground ball in the right field for a nice hit. One run is going to score. Next is going to score. The throw is over to second base and 2 more runs are in. Fondy submitting 5 runs today. A single by Fondy in the right field on the ground. 2 more runs come in to score. Bauer and Jackson. Banks leads to third. And here's Harry City up for the 9th man to bat of the inning. There's still only 1 man out. The score now is 10-1 in favor of the Cubs. Harry City, a right-handed bat, number 32. Well, I hope you're having half as much fun listening as we are broadcasting. I wish all the games were like this. The ball is inside out on these things, ball one. I think you're going to find that a lot more of the Cub ball games this year are going to be this way, too. There's a real spirit on the team. And a 5 young ball club, and they're hustling to beat the band. It's 1-0. Harry City waiting. Here's the next pitch in the dirt. Nice shot by Sonny. Almost got away. Ball good. 2-0 count. Sonny walks out in front of the plate down the third baseline. Throws the ball back to Tony Jacobs, who, by the way, is wearing number 1. Back in his gray family uniform. Cardinals would like to come up with that double play right here. I think it's manager Eddie Sankey, who is facing up and down in front of his bench down here, and it certainly isn't a happy Sankey. You can depend on that. 2-0. Here's the pitch. A ground ball foul almost in play. Oh, boy, a ball was like a bullet down the third baseline. It's Banks. And to jump the tightrope down there to get out of the way. 2-1 count. Harry City. Harry was a strikeout victim the first time. Now they're going to warm up another pitcher. Open. M-O-F-O-R-D. He's a right-hander. Just giving the Cardinals are going over. Ball 2 and strike 1. Here's the next pitch. Harry hits the ground ball to the third baseman. Boyer charges it, picks it up and throws. He got him. And another run scored. the sixth run of the inning. A run batted in for Speedy. The play went from Boyer to the first base for Bugio. And on the play, Fondy took second. So here, for the second time in the inning, is Paul Bitters. The 10th man to bat. Cubs lead 11-1 in the last half of the second. Bitters up for the second time in the inning. He started this whole thing with a single. He's had time to go up to the dressing room, change his uniform, and come back down again since he first scored in the inning. There's a high foul out of play down the left field line. Out of play. Man, the Cubs are pouring it on these Chicago today. It's 11-1. 6 runs in this inning. 5 in the first. There's not one down. Johnny Jacobs gets ready. Drops his eyes to the center. Goes to the next pitch. Swing on a bench by Bitters. And it's strike 2. Bitters been out of action so long in this inning that I hope he doesn't cool off. Strike 2 count. He has a 10-run margin to go on, which is pretty good. Sometimes that is enough. Like 2 counts. That's what's high for a ball with 1 and 2. Ball 1, strike 2. Cubs beating the St. Louis Cardinals on opening day. Cubs lead the National League in opening day victories with 35 counting yesterday's game and only 20 lost. Ball 1, strike 2. Here's the next pitch. High outside. A ball is 2 and 2 now. Ball 2 and strike 2. Long, tall ball. I think that puts the in there. Gale Wade is due to bat next to Bitter gets on. And Bitter plays as he said to drive in Fondy. Here's the stretch. It's up to 2-2 pitch and it's ball 3. High and outside. 3 and 2 now. It's a full count of 3 and 2. Well, this is the one that tells the story. 3 and 2. Jacobs stretches. Here's the pitch. Bitter swings and misses at a bad pitch, and he's doing. As a matter of fact, I think he's trying to hold up. So Bitter started off the inning, and he ended it. 6 runs. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. No cardinal errors and 1 Cub runner left on. He had a 2 complete innings. The score at Wrigley Field, Chicago. The Chicago Cubs 11. The St. Louis Cardinals 1. See, the loan by phone that Bob Adams answers is a public service by the General Financial Loan Company. So when emergency needs correction cash, we handle it if any such emergency happens. So use it, friend. That means Saturdays or Sundays or weekdays, anytime during any and all someplace for broadcast. Bob Adams is there to make the necessary arrangements for you to have $25 to $500 from by a phone. The number is end over 30073. That's public service loan by phone number of General Financial Loan Company. Why don't you call Bob there right now? Hand over 30073. Well, the third inning is coming up. Wire here from management and staff of Singapore says best wishes for a successful season. In other words, the P.L. O'Malley Company, Coca-Cola Bottling Company, that says best wishes for another successful season broadcasting the 1955 Cubs baseball game. Let's take a look at the other scores now. At the end of the first half of the third, the Cleveland Indians 4, the White Sox nothing. Now Seth Holmes conceded the second and 1 on. Detroit, Kansas City, no score going the last half of the second. Boston Red Sox 4, Baltimore 1 at the end of 4 innings of play. Washington Yankee game was rained out. Milwaukee leading Cincinnati 1-0 going the last half of the fourth. It's Jerry Stady against Lawrence Fox. The Giants Philadelphia game and the Pittsburgh Brooklyn games were rained out. Out here it's 11-1 as we go to the first half of the third. And the pitcher, Tony Jacobs, is ready to step into the batter's box. Paul Bitters is way out in front of this ball game. The outfielders are very shallow, especially Bamos, who's not far out there in right field, near the line. There's a flag on the inside corner of off the line. Like one. Nobody out and nobody out of the first half of the third. Tony Jacobs, way from out as Bitter winds up. Here's a pitch. It's a wide one for a ball. It's 1-1. one. Jacobs, Boone, and Burden will be the first lead on the bat. Ball ready again. Here's the windup with the 1-1. There's a, oh, he had a notion on that one. A little bit high for the ball. Number 2 one. Ball 2 with strike 1. Comes to a total of 9 hits and 11 runs. Cardinals have 2 hits, 1 run. 2-1 count. Here's the windup. The next pitch, and it's high outside 3-1. Well, don't lose the pitcher, Paul. Ball 3 is strike 1. The center fielder, Gale Wade, is playing a deep second base, you might say. Very shallow. You don't have much respect for his power. There's a strike on the outside. Threw his bat away and started down to first. And that Coley says, where you going, young man? It's 3-2. Tony's 155-pounder. He looks pretty slim from up here. Ball 3 is strike 2. Here's the next pitch. Foul ball into the Cardinal dugout, and they scatter it. 3-2. Boys, they hit it the other way. 3-2 count. Tony Jacobs. Nobody out and nobody on. Then he goes into the windup again. There's a pitch. A foul ball upstairs to the right. Get a piece of that. There's it still in. One of the lucky catchers there. Jump will be gone now until the 20th. We'll be out of town until the 20th of April. Although tomorrow is an open date. Well, Friday for that matter. Here's the 3-2 pitch. A line, the ground ball. He slips the Banks is up with it. There's a Banks first. He is out. Tagged him. I think he stepped on the bag and tagged him too. But he got him. Hold on. Tony Jacobs grounding out towards the first. I'll flip it around the infield over to Jackson. The Jackson in it. And it brings up Wally Moon. He got it out his first time at bat. First half of the third inning out here. Bridges team in Chicago. The score is 11-1 in favor of our Chicago Cubs. We're really going to town today. There's Henry's windup, and the pitch is swinging and a foul. Right down and Stevie picks it up. Umpire wants to take a look at it. That's all he says. It's okay, and it stays in the game. Strike 1 down. Left-hand hitter Wally Moon, number 20. The infield is just about straight away. The ball is all set again. Here's the windup. The next pitch comes in. Curveball. Low outside. This is 1-1. Wally Moon. Remember last year, the first game he was here, I think they had him in right field and center field and left field. He had an awful lot of trouble all over the place, but he settled down to be a very fine fielder. Swinging a bit. There was a rumor this spring that the Cubs were going to trade Bob Rush for Wally Moon, but apparently nothing has come of that. Ball 1, strike 2. The pitcher's in there getting set again. He's lined up. The next pitch comes in. A swing and a miss. Strike 3. Struck you down. Wally Moon is the first strikeout victim for Paul Bitter, and it brings up Bill Burton to beat out that infield hit on Ernie Banks. He's behind second base his first time up, and he scored on the double by Stan the Man, the infield. 2 out, nobody on. 11-1, the Cubs leading the first half of the third inning. And here's Bitter's wind up again. Here comes the next pitch. There's a long fly ball to right center. Fly ball shifting over towards the right center field spot. He's under it, and he taps it to the side of the net. 3 up and 3 down for the second inning in a row. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on. We go to the last half of the third inning. Cubs leading 11-1. The broadcast of the Midwest Baseball Network. And WIFD in Chicago. You know, fans, I may be a little bit rusty on some of my arithmetic. Boy, I know I am. But I know that no matter how much bills they multiply, you can still divide your paycheck only so many ways when it comes time to pay them off. So bills around town have multiplied, and you wonder how you're going to get out the money. Not sending into your precious savings account, of course. Why not get the cash from General Finance temporarily to pay them all off, still not disturb your savings? No, it just makes good sense. Keep your net rate intact. Get a short-term cash loan from General Finance to pay off those bills. It's a whole lot simpler than making one monthly payment and trying to divide up your paycheck into a lot of little pieces. Figure out the sum you need, anywhere from $25 to $500. And get the extra cash as a signature alone from the General Finance Loan Company. Last half of the third inning coming up. Gail Wade will be up. He's an up-fight to walk these time and score each time. By the way, I had a telegram delivered to me in the press room of Crosby Field yesterday after the ball game, and it came from a new radio station on our network. And I knew if I put it in my suit pocket, I would forget it, which I did. It's still down at the hotel, so we'll have to acknowledge the boys from down in Indiana way on Thursday. But down the first base behind the spot. I think, though, that it was the strike in Indiana. Not mistaken. Gail Wade laid down a foul bunt down the first base line of the ground. It's strike one. Nobody out, nobody on. 11-1 the Cubs lead. We're going to bring you every thrill and every play of the old ball game out here. The world's most beautiful ballpark, Wrigley Field. Well, Wade is still looking for his first major league hit. Maybe this is it. Tony Jacobs, the third Cardinal pitcher. Ben Blow, who's got his windup. But the ground ball back to the pitcher. No, he can't get it. First baseman Josh throws to the pitcher, drops the ball, and everybody. Well, let's see how they score that. What is happening to the Cardinals today couldn't happen to a nicer ball club. Let's put it that way. The base hit. They throw the ball to he is out. Here's what happened. They called for the ball. Wade had made the turn at first, apparently. Or time had not been called. And Wade is called out by the first base umpire as he wandered away from the bag. He gets credit for a hit, but he's out because time hadn't been called and he wandered away from the bag. I guess that's the explanation. He either made the turn and then didn't go back to the bag, or he wandered away from it, and time hasn't been called. We may get an official score for it because Baker hits the long foul on the left field line. Now, they might even take the hit away from him. I don't know. We better check with the official score and find out. They definitely called for the ball. Wade was over almost in the coach's box talking about Jesse. There's the next to the team Baker. It's a ball that went outside. We could have got it 1-1. There's the first time we've seen something like that at first base. We're going to check with the official score and see what the explanation is. There's the next pitch. A ball is high inside. 2-1 to Dee Fondy. Ball 2 and strike 1. Wade was out. I think they'll score it as a hit, though. It was a generous hit. Here's the windup, the 2-1 pitch. Blowing outside. It is 3-1, and if that will put him on. Ball 3 and strike 1. Baker, so far today, has struck out and sacrificed. Does have a total of 10 hits. There is a strike right over the height of the plate, Leonard High. They're going to get an umpire's decision on that play at first base. The official scores are as confused as we are because we don't know for sure what happened. I didn't notice whether he made the turn and didn't go back to the bag and they called for the ball and he was out, or whether he didn't have time hadn't been called when he wanted away. There's a foul on the ground off to the right. 3-2. Baker trying to get a hold of one. Ball 3 and strike 2. Right-handed batter. Score is 11-1. The Cubs are out in front, and this is the last half of the third inning at Wrigley Field, the world's most beautiful ballpark. 3-2 count. Baker batting. Tom Hall shooting him up next. And here's the windup by Tony. There's the next pitch. A ground ball. It's foul. Fast razor's way. Ken Boyer's the third baseman. He goes right out of the bullpen. Somebody gets off the bench to get it. Count remains at 3-2. Official score will announce as soon as they get the umpire's decision on that play at first, which may be a little while because it was warning you called it, and Pat, of course, can't go down there to find out until after the inning is over. Ball 3 and strike 2. Here's the windup, the next pitch. Ball forward. High inside. Baker gets the base on ball. Nobody in the official charge box knows what Warnicki called it, so they're going to check on it and find out. Well, here's Bravo. Frankie went 5 for 0 yesterday, 0 for 5, whichever way you want to put it. Today he's been up twice and that's 2 for 2. But he's driven in a run. Matter of fact, he's driven in 2 runs. Frankie Bravo. Great little scrapper up there in the battery box. The teammate on first base, Steve Baker. Buddy Jacobs stretches now. He's ready. Here's the pitch. Frankie looks a high fly ball. It looks like an easy out. The center fielder Rapolsky is calling for this one. He's under it. Throws it a little bit. Gets it for out number 2. The throw is back in towards second base. Baker is back in first. Well, here's Sauer as a single and a double. And an RBI. Henry digs the dirt out of his spike before stepping up. The infield is shifted on him now. 3 men to the left of second base. Cubs are ahead 11-1. This is the last out of the third with 2 out. And Baker on first. There's the pitch. Henry takes a fast strike. Almost a sidearm or a crossfire delivery, and it's a strike one check. Dee strike one. Jackson down at 1 knee, left watching. A throw to first base. The Baker's back in the bag. As we take back to the pitcher. Strike one count. Here comes the next pitch. Henry hits the ground ball over the pitcher's head. The second baseman grabs the ball and steps on second. Shady actually was playing the shortstop position. It's an easy force out. Shady's unassisted. No runs. Temporarily, we're going to score it as 1 hit. No errors and 1 man left on. And at the end of 3 innings, here at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Chicago Cubs 11 runs on 10 hits. The St. Louis Cardinals 1 run on 2 hits. Here are the other scores. Milwaukee 1, Cincinnati nothing at the end of 4 innings. Giants, Phillies, Pittsburgh, Brooklyn games are rained out. At the end of 3 innings, Cleveland 4, the White Sox nothing. At the end of 2 innings, Kansas City 1, Detroit nothing. At the end of 5 innings, Boston 4, Baltimore 1. Washington Yankee game was rained out. Well, here's the explanation. Right. Pat Piper just explained that on Wade's play at first base, he was called safe when the pitcher dropped the ball. But on the way back, he neglected to touch the bag, and he was called out. So he must not have touched the bag in the first place. Otherwise, if he had, it didn't turn, he was safe no matter what happened. Apparently, they still get the hit. Maybe the official score will change that. Well, in any event, we're going to the 4th inning. Musial is stepping to the batter's box. There's the windup of the pitch, and there is a ball that's low. I don't think that explanation by Pat Piper will satisfy the official score. I think probably it will require another telephone conversation between the press box and down the field. Doesn't sound quite right to me. Sam the man around a double is rubbing around his first time. There's a hard smash to the ground in the left field between short and third of the hole. Base hit. Hank Sauer comes up with the ball. And Musial is off and running, batting 1,000 for the year with 2 trips to the plate. A single. That's the 3rd hit off hitter. On the play at first base, Wade got a base hit, his first of the season. Assist for Jacobs and a put out for Musial was called for the ball. He had a wide work to Rapolsky. Rather a strike, and it's like one call. Well, you see everything. Like one count. Leonard delivers the next pitch. The line drive over Baker's head to right center for a base hit. Going to go for extra bases, I think. Bravo catches him up with the ball. He'll be rounding second on the way into third, and Rapolsky goes into second base for the double. The line drive to the right center field for two bases, and Leonard's in trouble now. The fourth hit off Leonard that brings up Red Shady. 11-1, the Cubs are out in front. First two men, the baseman here in this inning, has come up with base hits. He singles on usual, a double by Rapolsky. Shady's grounded out for the third out of the first inning. Third to third. Fondy can go to the pitcher's mound and drop the hitter for a moment. As the redhead steps into the batter's box. He's a quick hitter. Batting right-handed against left-handed pitching. Leonard winds up. Here comes the pitch, and it's a spike on the outside corner. He's locked down high. Strike one call. 11-1. The Cubs lead. Nobody out for St. Louis, though, with runners on second and third. They're trying to rally here. Maybe it's just the guy who can keep it going, too. Strike one count. Then it looks confused and it winds up. Here comes the pitch way wide for a ball. It's 1-1. Ball one and strike one. Well, we hope you're enjoying the broadcast of this real thriller out here this afternoon. That play at first is the like of which I don't think I've ever seen on the broadcasting baseball. Ball one, strike one. Leonard just started to wind up. Davies decided he'd waited long enough and he backed down to the batter's box. There's the city one and struck up in the end of the inning. Here's the wind up the next pitch. Very wide for a ball of 2-1. Then left field of Boston has just hit a couple of home runs. The second was one on and the sixth was somebody on. Ball two and strike one. Shane Dean's teammates on second and third. Then he goes up the windup motion again. Here comes the next pitch, and it's very wide. Ball three, and Leonard is working himself into a jam here. Boyer is due to come up there. It's 3-1 for the redhead. And long, tall ball. Looks down to get the sign again. 3-1 count. Now the windup, the next pitch to Shane Dean. Ball is the way inside to get the base on ball. Well, the bases are loaded, and the Cubs are going to start somebody warming up. It's Clement Church. And Dutch Leonard calls time and goes out to the pitcher's mound to talk to Leonard, who may have cooled off. Well, he shouldn't have either because that was a fairly short last half of the third. Leonard's talking to Paul. Paul is nodding his head up and down. No base hit. No base hit for Gale Wade. He was out before he actually used first base safely. There's a fire on the outside corner to Ken Boyer. Mike one call. Oh, that was a real confuser. Jim Gallagher, general manager of the Chicago Cubs, is one of the members of the Rules Committee in baseball. There's a quick-standing foul ball. It's strike two, and it was Jim Gallagher's interpretation of the rules that he was not credited with a base hit because he actually, as far as the records are concerned, did not reach first base safely. So the put-out must have gone from the first baseman. I think he made the throw to the pitcher, and then the pitcher tossed to the first baseman. That's the way it went. There's a swing. He's sucking down. Ken Boyer is called out on strike. Well, we were right for a change. The scoring on the play is 3-1-3. View to take up to View. So poor Gale Wade. Of course, it was a very hard-hit ball. He loses his first major league hit. Cubs, therefore, had a total of 9 hits. There's the ground ball past the pitcher, behind second. Baker to bang, back to first base. The left score. There was a neat play. Baker cut his butt out the shortstop, came up with the ball. The runner, Banks, came up with it. Toss to the other one, and the throw back to first base is too late. They were both almost in exactly the same spot out there and had a little trouble getting over to the bag. Now, I think it must have gone from Baker to Banks. I believe that's the way it was. And the relay back to first base. The run scored, though. And the runner at first is safe. Bill Sarney. Now here's the right-handed hitter, Alex Gravett, to take the ball on that side. Runners on first and third now. With 2 men out, and the score is 11-2 in favor of the Chicago Cubs. Gravett is the hitter. There's the stretch. The next pitch to Alex. A ground ball to the third baseman Jackson. He grabs the ball. He's a back to first base. He is out. Third to first. 1 run scored. 1 hit. 2 hits, rather. 2 hits. No errors. 2 men are left on. The end of the first half of the fourth inning at Wrigley Field. The score is now Chicago Cubs 11. The St. Louis Cardinals 2. And the broadcast is coming to you direct from Wrigley Field with the facilities of WIND in Chicago and the Midwest Baseball Network. WIND Chicago. Well, first, here's a little tip that could be a great big help. If you need extra cash for clothes, or doctor bills, or car upkeep, or whatever. Well, you know all the things you can have. Get it from General Financial Company. Don't touch your savings. You can help upset your monthly savings program. Don't upset the apple cart. This is necessary. What better solution to bills and expenses than lending some money from General Financial? Clear the taxes. Get things that are even deal once more. Any sum you need from $25 to $500 you get from General Finance on your signature alone. Then small monthly payments arranged to suit your budget, and you rid yourself of money worries. Go out and pay a visit to friendly General Finance. They help thousands of fans in this area. Believe me, they can help you. 25 Chicagoland offices listed on page 638 in your phone book. Or, of course, you can phone right now and over 3-0073 to friendly Bob Adams and tell him that Bert Wilson said to call. Last half of the fourth inning, and Ransom Jackson started to step into the batter's box. Hence to Ransom, who has 1 for 1. Sensational pass and a hit, and he scored twice. There's a flag call to the outside corner about foul line, strike 1. Right-hand hitter scores 11-2 in favor of the Cubs. He was last half of the fourth. Ball game moving right along. All these runs and scoring pass. Here's the windup for next. But Jackson is a long drive to left field. There she goes. It's a home run on the tap ball. That's the Branson, the first. A home run on the ramp over the left field wall. A home run is first of the year. Hit number 4 off Jacobs. Run number 1. And the Chicago Cubs now lead by a score of 12. Here's Banks missing the ball. Right inside. Ball 1. 1-0. I have 3 runs charged to Jacobs now. There's the next pitch. High and back to ball 2. It's 2-0. 5, 2 is 8, and 3 are 11, and shy 1 run is 12. There's the wind up, the next pitch. Ball over that side. 3-0. The batter will put Banks on. Well, certain things are certainly going right for our Cubs this afternoon. Believe you me. They're getting some powerful hits. The third. Fine gets called. The other guy. That's one of the plays. They have some activity in the Cardinal bullpen down the line. 3-1 pitch is strike 2. That was down around his knees on the outside corner. As far as we go, I'll pull it down. Little lefty in the bullpen, Paul LaPalme. Here's the windup, the 3-2 pitch, a ground ball to the third base. And rolls down the left field line of the bullpen. There's Banks racing around first on the way to the second base. Here's the throw, and he slides in with a double. Ernie Banks just doubles up the inches inside the third base line. 2 more bases for the Cubs. Oh, they're parking them today. The my scorecard, that's number 5 on Tony Jacobs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits on Jacobs. See if that adds up right. 6 and 3 is 9, and 3 is 12. Well, I'm off again. They got 11 hits on the board if they're right. Jacobs is charged with giving up 3 runs. That's what I have. There's a bunt out towards the mound. The pitcher's up with the ball. The fact that first he is out. And Banks stayed at second base. He didn't try to move to third. The pitcher, Tony Jacobs. Threw to Shavers, and they got him at first base on an attempted sacrifice. And the runner stayed at second base. That's the 1-2 play, that's all. And here's Sheedy now. Harry has nothing to choose about do. He had a home run and a double yesterday. He's got a lot of power. He's big enough. Only 22 years old. Here's a pitch. Sheedy swings and misses. And he missed that ball a foot. It was down the middle, let it high. Like work. Dave Rush, West Virginia, just came to the booth. Right point down. There's the motion again by Tony Jacobs. It comes to the next pitch, and it's very wide for the ball to make the count 1-1. From the Cubs fans of Rockford, Illinois, good luck for 1955. Gene Hobel, Bob Lewis, John Moran, Chuck England, and Tom Meade. Pitcher getting ready again. A ball went strike one shot. There's the next one. It's swinging a foul off to the right. I think it's going to be on the net, out of play. Nobody can get to it. Well, it's 1-2. I think I gave a chart some one of the St. Louis pitchers with too many hits. I had 3 hits off line. 1, 2, 3, that's right. I charged Schultz with 3 hits. That's right. Jacobs, I have 6, but there must be 5 if the scoreboard is right of the number of hits. We have 11 up there, and I have 12 on my scorecard, but we have lots of runs, and let's not worry about it. It's 12-2 in favor of the Cubs. Ball 1, strike 2. Alex Sheedy with a pitcher getting ready again. Here's the next one high for a ball. It's 2-2. Ball 2 and strike 2. A 2-2 count. Harry's trying to get a hold of one and drive it another run. The Cubs are way out of something. He's touched by Tony Jacobs. Here's the next pitch. A ground ball back to the box in the center field for a base hit. Watch the play. Monkey up with the ball, and there's no play at the plate. It's the second base. A signal by Sheedy, another RBI, and the Cubs lead 13-2. Banks scores in second. Harry Sheedy comes through with a base hit to drive in another run. That's hit number 6 on Tony Jacobs. Run number 4. And it's 13 for the Chicago Cubs and 2 for the St. Louis Cardinals. And Eddie Sankey walked very slowly out towards the pitcher's mound, and it looks like Tony Jacobs is going to go out. And Paul LaPalme, who was with the Pittsburgh Pirates, is going to come in with this. I think it's Paul. We'll check as he gets out there. 3 hits in this inning off Tony, 2 runs. A home run by Jackson, a double by Banks. Fondy grounded out on a bunt. Sheedy brought Banks in with a good solid signal through the box and out of the second base of the center field. And now we have Paul LaPalme coming in to take Tony Jacobs' place out of the pitcher's mound. This is the score, almost the same as the score by which the Cubs beat the Cardinals opening day last year, 13-4, if my memory serves me right. However, today we're only in the last half of the 4th inning and still going strong. Well, Tony Jacobs has gone to the showers. Let's see, he pitched 1 third, 1 to the third. 2 hitters. Paul LaPalme. He's a little lefty. He was with Pittsburgh. He was in 33 games for the Pirates last year. He started 15, completed 2. He won 4 and lost 10. His earned run average wasn't too bad, 5.50. get Warren Giles, who is the president of the National League over here. Certainly, we hope to have him over anyway, possibly at the end of the fifth inning. Well, here's Paul Bennett now facing Paul LaFave. But you left him over. Great division. Strike one. Paul Bennett is in month or two. He struck out the last time up. Got a single to start off the first run down in the second inning. LaFave is a lefty. Trying to get the side for Phil Kearney. The infield is just about straight away. Speedy started to take a lead outside. So LaFave is out of the box. Crowd of over around 30,000 anyway. The park seats about 35,000. There's probably a number of seats still available. Strike one count. LaFave ready. Here's the next pitch. Out on in front of the plate. Sonny comes down, has to play to first. There's a backing down. Red Davies took this ball to sacrifice. A play going from Phil Kearney to Red Davies from the sacrifice. We'll see that. Play going from Phil Kearney to Red Davies from the sacrifice. We'll see down a second and brings up Gail Wade. Still looking for his first major league hit. They took their head away from him the last time up, although it all fares. It certainly wasn't hit very hard. It was just in the infield. Usually played the ball, and the pitcher dropped it at first, and when Gail Wade neglected to touch first on the way across, he was called out. They didn't even have to tag him. All the pitcher did was throw the ball back to the infield, and out was Mr. Wade. So he lost his first major league hit. Now, with a man in scoring position, here is Wade. They curve low outside. The ball gets away, but Sheedy is up to the side. Let's stay a second. Well, he hurried after that ball. The ball about 30 feet to the left of the play. There was no play anywhere, and Sheedy decided he better play. Harry's a great big guy. He's not too fast. But anyway, only while he took a chance. All one, no strike down. Dubs leading 13 in the last half of the fourth inning. Now the pitcher's on the hill again already. Here comes the next one. Wade takes the curveball and had it open, let it go and slow. 2-0. Ball two, no strike. We've had enough excitement so far in the ball game to last for a company game. Practically all of it on the cut side, which is the right way, of course. We're strictly impartial. You know how we feel about it. I don't care who wins, as long as it's the cut. Ball two with no strike. Gail Wade with the pitcher on the rubber again, getting ready. Sheedy takes that lead off. Here's the pitch. Wade takes curve low outside. 3-0. He's on the verge of getting another one. Well, he may not be hitting very much. He's hitting 0 in the National League so far this year, and he only hit about 150 in the exhibition season. But he's getting on. If he had touched first base, he's been on every time he's been up. He's been up 3 times so far. This is the 4th time. He's on the verge of getting another one. Maybe that he has a terrific eye up there at the plate. 3-0 count. Here's the set. Here comes the next pitch. There's point one up the inside corner about now. High 3-1. Ball 3 is strike one. Wade rubs a little bit on his hand. Looks down to the coach. Raises his leg. The box is there. Then steps back in again. Ball 3 and strike one. Now he's on the hill. Ready to go. Shortstop trying to worry Sheedy a bit. Strike 2. That was up there. Basketball. Down high, down the middle. He's up and going as a full count of 3 and 2. Now the big one. Ball 3 and strike 2. Well, let's get up while we're hot. Got a man in scoring position here. 3 and 2 count. There's a stretch by LaFave. Here comes the next pitch. There's a foul ball. It's coming out of play. Now the names are 3 and 2. All 3, strike 2. The bat boy, Billy Book, made a nice catch on that. He's improving. Little fella, 13 years old. A 3 and 2 count. Anything can happen now. Bob takes a lot of time, rubs the sweat off the ball, walks into his glove. Bob Duffy, the coaching staff. Bob, incidentally, is with the pitcher's sack business during the winter time here in Chicago. With the exception of the right fielder, the outfielders are very shallow for Wade. Plus, I think he has any power. Right fielder, Rapolsky is fairly deep. Burton at center. Ball 3 is strike 2. Down the motion again. Here's the next pitch as they swing out of there. He's stuck him up. So Wade is still looking for his first major league hit. 2 runs. 3 hits. No errors. 1 man left on. In the 4th inning, the score is the Chicago Cubs 13 and the St. Louis Cardinals 2. Now it's like an insurance policy, that loan by phone number in General Finance. You need it, it's there. You just call that over 30073 and your agent Bob Adams says, forget your financial worries, buddy, they're all over you. Yes, General Finance wins $25 to $500. Very worthwhile for you. And like insurance, knowing that General has that loan by phone line offered as a public service, means some contentment of the ease of mind of yours. I suggest that you write that number down where you'll be able to find it when you need it. Hand over 30073. General Finance Loan Company, 25 loans. Across the area today. Well, we're going into the 5th inning. I think I've talked my voice out pretty well. I'm afraid if I stop talking, I'll never start again. However, we'll give it a try and see. You may have to finish the rest of the ball game, Jack. Jack Quinlan's sitting over here. So we're going to call in Jack and see what he can do about holding the Cardinals and maybe getting some more Cub runs. So right at the moment, anyway, we're pretty well out front. Johnny King, one of Andy Brady's Steve Archer just walked in. Thank you, Johnny. And here comes Jack Quinlan. Thank you, Bert. Well, the Cubs fans on opening day is not a whole lot to holler about. I imagine no Cubs fan will forget this one for a long time. So I don't imagine Eddie Sankey will forget it either. Starting the top half of the 5th inning, the batter is the pitcher, Paul LaPalm. LaPalm last year with the Cardinals, which the Pirates starter won 4 and lost 10. Here's the 0-1. The curveball is swung on, flat on the ground at the second baseman. Baker tees up the ball. The foot to the first baseman finally is inside. LaPalm bounces out, and the second baseman takes the first baseman, Dee Fondy, and it brings up the leadoff man, Wally Moon. Struck out his last time up. He rounded off the party to the pitcher who covered back in the first inning. So Moon, a 304 batter last year, and the National League Rookie of the Year, is coming for 2 officially here in his first game of the 1955 season. Paul Miller, lean southpaw, gets the time from big catcher Harry G. Rocks back, center fires, curveball, low inside for ball 1. 1-0 the count on Wally Moon. Dixie Walker, former National League great outfielder, coaching down the first base line. Wendell in the coach's box and third for the Cardinals. At the top of the 5th, the Cubs leading 13-2. Miller fires 1-0 pitch down the middle, a fastball over behind the plate for a call at strike 1. Frank Gascoli calling the ball from strike there. Lon Waneke, the first base umpire, traveling the stock mark behind first base. Frank Sakari at second. Larry gets the third base umpire. The count of ball and a strike on Wally Moon, the left-handed hitter. The pitch started the swing, held up to strike anyway. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jimmy dropped the pitch, picked it up, fires it back out to Miller. Ball with a big lead here. The first game at home. The Chicago Cubs in 1955. They won their opener at Crosby Field yesterday. As Sam Jones picked up the victory and released Bob Rush. Final score was 7-5. The count on Moon, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Miller starting to work now. Rocks back. Here's the kick. The 1-2 pitch on its way. Curveball is blowing outside for ball 2. An even up count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jackson at third, Banks at short, Baker at second, Fondy at first. The outfield, Sauer, Wade, and Pommel. And the Cubs are going crazy this afternoon. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Miller fires. 2-2 pitch. Come on, hit on the ground at the second baseman Baker. Teams up with the ball. Again, the foot of the body is in time for the out. 2 up and 3 down. Bernie Banks. Banks made a great play back in the first inning. But Burton was fast enough to beat him out. He scored the first Cardinal run of the ball game back in the first. Last time up, Burton flying to the right fielder, Frankie Bombo, so he's 1 for 2 this afternoon. Paul Minner gets the time for Captain Speedy. 2 out, nobody on base. The top half of the fifth inning. Minner ready to work. He fires. Hits cold ball. Swung on. Here's a line drive. Way back in the left center field. Center fielder back. Left fielder back to hit the top of the wall. There is the runner around second base. He's going to try for 3. Here's the throw from Stoller. He's flying to his face with a triple. Burton triples off the left center field wall above the 368-foot mark. Stoller retrieves the ball off the break. Fires it into the third baseman Jackson. But Burton was sliding in safely with a 3-bagger off the bricks in left center field. It's the 5th Cardinal hit of the ball game. And the Redbirds have a runner in scoring position at third base. He's going to go back to second. It's going to be a double. A fan reached over, touched the ball momentarily, and Burton is being sent back to second base. It'll be a 2-base hit for Bill. It was a line drive, which Wade and Stoller both chased after. It hit the top of the wall as the fan reached over, deflected the ball, and it's a ground rule double for Bill Burton. It brings up Musial with a single and a double and a run scored and a run batted in. Stan the man, 2 for 2. Minner checks the runner, Burton. He fires to Musial. The curveball hangs outside of the belt. Ball 1. Rapowski will be next. He's nailing to the right. 1 ball and no strikes on Stan the man Musial. On Coyle, like a snake. He's ready to haul up and dump one. 1-0. Burton to lead off second. Minner fires line drive. Center field. Wade coming fast. He's got it. Retire the side. Nice running catch by Gale Wade. For the Cardinals in the top half of the fifth inning. No runs on 1 hit. A double by Burton. No Cabarrus. 1 man left on. We had the 4.5 innings to play. The Cubs still lead by a score of 13-2. The broadcast coming to you from the Midwest Baseball Network.
There's no worry, you can't sleep. If it's Bill's for this, back the other things you got to work. Now the general finance with an extra chance to free up the odds at end. Now the Chicago folks do count on general finance. That's any working man and woman gets $25 to $500 extra tag, extra tag. Take your choice. These super convenient ways to get their loan. The rates put right this minute with one easy phone call to Bob Adams at hand over 30073, the General Finance Loan Company office, or stop at the nearest General Finance Loan Company office. You'll find the address listed on page 638 of the phone book, all 25 of them. Now, why don't you take a moment out right now and phone Bob Adams, friendly Bob Adams, that is, at hand over 30073. And now the last portion of today's baseball game between the Chicago Cubs and St. Louis Cardinals is brought to you by the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Chicago. Once again, here's Jack Whittle.
Okay, Bert, ready to go into the last half of the fifth inning. Gene Baker, Frank Bombos, and Hank Stoller will be the first 3 men to face Paul LaPalme, the 4th Cardinal pitcher of the afternoon. Lawrence started. He was followed by Schultz and Jacobs, and now it's LaPalme. So here's Baker. He and Wade are the only 2 Cubs this afternoon who have failed to get a base hit. Baker's come up only once officially, though, and that time he was called out on strike. The pitch swung on and fouled back up the net. Strike 1. Boyer, rookie third baseman, picking up the dirt around the bag. Alex Graham at the short, Red Cheney at second, Steele on the pitcher. Moon, Ferdinand, Rapowski in the Cardinal outfield. The 0-1 pitch, fastball. Foul, strike 2. Outside corner of the letters. Baker watched the sail by. The last half of the fifth inning. Nobody on, nobody out. Steve Baker waves that bat across. Here's the pitch. Nothing to deliver. It is high and outside for ball 1. Catcher's son, he dropped the ball, picks it up, fires it back to Paul LaPalme with Pittsburgh last year. LaPalme, a southpaw. The count on Baker, a ball and 2 strikes. Gene bent low over the plate. The 1-2 pitch from LaPalme on its way. Curveball is slapped on the ground at the third baseman Boyer. On the second hop, he fires to Musial and he got him. Musial tagged Baker and Gene won across the bench. It brings up Frankie Bombo, who's 2 for 3. Frankie Bombo has scored a couple of runs. He's driven in 2 runs. Veteran Cub right fielder, wearing the number 7 on the back of his shirt, waving a bat around. All Cubs to step in against southpaw Paul LaPalme. 1 out, nobody on base. The last half of the fifth inning, the Cubs leading scored 5 in the first, 6 in the second, 2 more in the fourth. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Ramos. Curveball is high. Inside again for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Hank Sauer knocking the dirt out of his spikes down below it. Henry will be next. Wade and Baker, the only 2 Cubs who have failed to hit today, but they've been on base. Wade with a couple of walks. Baker with a walk. Right now, Farmhouse is the batter. 1 out. Last half of the 5th inning. LaPalm delivers the 2-1 pitch. Curveball hangs low and away for ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike on Frank Farmhouse, who gets the sign from Ray Blaze, the box down the third base line. Bob Duffy, the coach's box. 3 balls and 1 strike. Eddie Sankey's been on his feet all afternoon in the Cardinal dugout. The pitch is swung on and fouled behind the dugout at third base, and the box scramble. And an opening day souvenir is picked up by a gent. Sticks it in his pocket. Boy, they got a dandy crowd on hand today, and the weatherman cooperated 100%. It was cloudy all day in Chicago. Sun in and out, and the weatherman promised thunderstorms late this afternoon, but he held off, and it looks like it's going to be a dandy day all the way. The count on Farmhouse, 3-2. LaPalm fires. Curveball swung on and popped up on the infield. Third baseman Boyer near the mound, and Boyer makes the grab for the second out. Farmhouse is retired on a pop-up near the mound to the third baseman, Ken Boyer. It brings up Big Henry. He doubled and he singled, and he was safe on a fielder's choice. Sauer is 2 for 3, and he has the runs out at end he has scored a couple of runs. 13-2, the Cubs leading. It's 2 out here. Nobody on base. The last half is number 5. Paul LaPalm gets the sign to catches Bill Sarney. The infield, 3 men between second and third. The pitch is in the dirt for ball 1 to Sauer. He turns around and says something to the umpire, Frank Gascoli. The catcher Sarney fires the ball back to the pitcher. Now LaPalm rubs the shine off the ball. It's 1-0 on Big Sauer. It's taken 1 hour and 45 minutes to play 4 and 2/3 innings. We're in the last of the 5th. The 1-0 pitch to Sauer. Swing and a miss, and Big Henry really went around. 1-1 on Sauer. Slow curveball was lobbed in by LaPalm, and Sauer took a swing at the ball and looked like a balloon coming in. 1-1, the count on Hank. Waves that bat across the plate. A dangerous man. The 1-1 pitch. Swung on and line drive, base hit. Right over second base in the center field. It's Sauer's 3rd hit of the ball game. 3 for 4. And it brings up Jackson, who was walked in the first, beat out a hit to the shortstop in the second, and homered his last time up. Lansing Jackson with teammate Hank Sauer on first base. 2 out, the last half of the 5th inning. Paul LaPalm, the 4th Cardinal pitcher of the ball game. Lawrence, Schultz, Jacobs, and LaPalm. It's been a steady parade from the Cardinal bullpen all afternoon. As Sankey's pitching crew gets off to a shaky start. That was the weakness of the Cardinals last year. LaPalm checks the runner. He fires to Jackson. Fastball is over the plate for 2 low and ball 1. Sarney steps on the plate, fires it back to the hill. 1-0, the count on Hanson Ransom. Jackson has 2 runs batted in, 3 runs scored. He has scored every time he's been up. 1-0 Sauer, the short lead on first base. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Jackson. Curveball swung on a line drive. The shortstop ground. Nice play by Alex. He leaped in the air and brought it down to the other side. The ball was well tipped by Ransom, but Gramus was there, made the leap, and the ball stuck in the webbing of his glove. So at the end of 5 innings of play, the total is the bottom of the 5th for the Cubs. No runs on 1 hit, a line drive to center field by Sauer. No Cardinal errors, and 1 man left on. At the end of 5 innings of play at Wrigley Field in Chicago, the Cubs lead the St. Louis Cardinals by a score of 13-2. This is WIND in Chicago. Well, in the top of the 6th, the St. Louis Cardinals is going to be Rip Rapolsky, Red Paintings, and Jeff Williams. The numbers 4, 5, and 6 men in the Cardinal batting order. Right now, the ground crew is on, dragging the infield at the end of 5 innings of play. A crowd of between 25 and 30,000. We haven't had the official attendance yet. Paul Miller taking his warm-up throws to catcher Harry Sheets. Well, once again, here's Bert.
Okay, Jack, we have the president of the National League, Warren Giles, in our broadcasting group today. And Warren, it looks like this is going to be a wild and woolly season for all of you.
It's bound to be. It's starting off. I've seen your Johnson 2 games. give them a great story of these stuff. They're great followers of yours. You're doing a swell job here.
Oh, and I just have a hunch you're going to have a lot more fun this year, Warren.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, the race is bound to be a tight race. I think the second division clubs will strengthen more over the winter than the first division clubs did. It would naturally make for more close ball games, tighter race, more fans, better crowds. More fun for the broadcast.
Well, they can't make them any too much fun for me, Warren. You know that. Well, thank you very much. I think we're just about ready to go. Warren, good luck to you. Nice being with you, Bert. And once again, here's Jack Quinlan. Morning, Jack.
Okay, Bert, ready to move into the top half of the sixth inning. Rick Rapolsky leading off for the St. Louis Cardinals to be followed by Shane Dees and then Boyer. Here's Minner firing. The first pitch to Rapolsky. Curveball swung on. A line drive base hit to left field. Sauer down on one knee up with the ball. Fires it back into the infield as Rapolsky makes the turn and holds up with a single. A line shot over the third baseman Jackson's head. That is the sixth Cardinal hit of the ball game. Brings up Shane Dees to switch batter. The redhead grounded out to the third baseman Jackson the first time up. He walked back to the corner. Shane Dees is nothing for one officially. Batting right-handed against the southpaw brings up Paul Minner. Minner checks the runner on first base. The pitch to Shane Dees is a curveball at the letters outside for ball one. 1-0 on Al Shane Dees, the .315 batter with the Cardinals last year, a steady competitor, whether he plays second or short. The Cardinals and has been one of the main cogs in the Cardinal machine for many years. Minner checks the runner. The 1-0 pitch to Shane Dees is a little bit low and inside for ball two. Cleveland leads the White Sox by a score of 5-1 at the end of 5.5 innings of play. Kiner has homered for the Indians. Milwaukee 1, Cincinnati nothing at the end of 7. Lawrence Cobb throwing a shutout for the Rays. The count on Shane is 2-0. Minner checks the runner. The pump to first base. League here's the 2-0 pitch. He is over the plate for 2 low. Ball 3. 13-2. The Cubs leading in the top half of the sixth inning at Wrigley Field in Chicago. This is Jack Quinlan with Bert Wilson, hoping you're enjoying the ball game. And it's going to be a great season for these Cubs. Like Stan Hack told us in the interview before the ball game, the hustle and spirit on this team like we haven't seen in many, many years. The 3-0 pitch. The ball is over the plate for a ball. Strike one. 3-1 on Shane Dees to be followed by Ken Boyer, who's kneeling to the right. He was picked by the Sporting News last week to be the Rookie of the Year in the National League. Wally moved to the Cardinals, received that honor last year. The count is 3-1 on Shane Dees. Rapolsky leads off first. The 3-1 pitch is low. Over the plate for 2 low, and it's ball 4. Shane Dees draws the pass. So Rapolsky keeps down to second base. Shane Dees throws the bat away and moves towards first, and it brings up Ken Boyer. He flagged the Baumholz, and he was called out on strike. Boyer has been up twice, and he has failed to get a base hit. Minner tossing the ball up and down in his bare hand out on the hill. Rapolsky takes the lead on second base with his hands on his hips. Shane Dees in the same position moves on first. Nobody out. 2 men on. The pitch to Boyer is the call. Strike one. Curveball at the belt. 0-1 on Ken. No balls. 1 strike on Ken Boyer. Young Cardinal third baseman. Minner checks the runner over the left shoulder on second base. Nothing. 1 pitch. Curveball is swung on and Fowler is right at the plate. Cardinal bat boy picks it up. Umpire Gasoli flips the blue ball to catcher cheating the left throw away from him. Chases it down the third base line. Flips to Jackson, who in turn fires it to the pitcher Paul Minner. Johnny Reynolds claps his hands together in the coach's box at third. We're in the top half of the sixth inning. The Cardinals have men on first and second. Nobody out. Trailing the Cubs 13-2. Off to a great start. Around 28,000 on hand for opening day at this field. The Cubs beat the Red Legs yesterday in Cincinnati 7-5. The batter is Ken Boyer, Cardinals third baseman. Minner taking plenty of time to get the sign from catcher Harry Teedy. The outfield deep swung to the left. The 0-2 pitch. Curveball is high outside ball 1. Minner tried to fool him, tried to make him fight on the bat. But Boyer watched it sail high and outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Ken. Rapolsky on second. Shane Dees on first. They both have short leads. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Boyer. Curveball is blowing outside. Didn't miss by much. Teedy started to fire it off to second base. But Rapolsky was on the strike. The count is even up to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Paul Minner shooting for victory number 1. Last year he beat the Cardinals 5 times, lost to them only once. He checks the run. The 2-2 pitch on its way. Started the swing, held up as the call, strike 3. Boyer is called out on second with one out there in the top half of the sixth inning. Minner trying to work himself out of the jam, even though he has a very comfortable 11-run cushion. Here's the pitch to Sonny. Fastball swung on and popped up over to the right. The catcher, Gee, giving it the old college try, but it's back in the second row. Kevin, a brown suit, tried to make the grab, and he gets a boot on that one as he bounced off his shoulder and back up to the playing field with the Cardinal bat boy. Nothing in one. Gee and Farley both gave chase. New ball. Starts with a catcher, Gee, slam, fired out Scully. He fires it out to 4-minute. The count is 0-1 on the catcher, Bill Sonny. One out, the top half of the sixth inning. Lopowski on second. The Kennedy's gone first. The top infield playing back, looking for the double play ball. Minner getting the sign from the sixth target, Eric G. 235 pounds, and he's going to be a big help. The 0-1 pitch, high and inside for ball one. G looks like a real pro up there at the plate. He looks like a good man behind the plate, too, in his catch. So look at that. He's a menacing object up there. He's going to cause National League pitchers a lot of trouble this year. The 1-1 pitch on its way. Minner fires. Fastball, 4 on left, right back to the hill. 92, flips the second one, throw to third, double play. He got a nice pitch to Paul Minner. The ball was hit right back to the hill on one bounce. Paul grabbed it, fired to the second baseman, who covered and was base. Actually, there was no controversy, but it was a crease, which you don't see too often. He beat out a play at first base. When it was called out, he actually picked off the bag. And last time up, he went down quick. So he is nothing for two officially. Cub runners on first and second. LaFond ready to work to Gale Wade. The left-handed hitting center fielder. The pitch through ball over the belt inside corner for strike one call. Nothing in one on Gale Wade. Tough center fielder. Last year at Indianapolis, he's up at 9 home runs. Here's LaFond checking Chidi over the left shoulder. The lead off second. The pitch curveball in the outside corner at the shoulders for a call strike two. The pitcher LaFond way out in front of the batter, Gale Wade. Wade last year had a 273 batting average. Comes from Ashton, South Carolina. 6'1 and a half, 190 pounder. He's very fast on the bases. The count, nothing in two. 2 out, the pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. The second time in a row that Wade has gone down swinging. LaFond worked himself out of the jam with 2 men on base. So in the last half of the 6th inning, the total is no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on. At the end of 6 full innings of play at Wrigley Field in Chicago, on a sun-kissed afternoon, the Cubs 50 and the St. Louis Cardinals 2. Broadcast coming to you from WIND in Chicago. Let's check the scores here. The White Sox still trail Cleveland by a score of 5-1 at the end of 6.5 innings of play. Trucks against Lemon. Kiner and Smith for the Indians. Kansas City leads Detroit 2-1 at the end of 4. Wilson homers for Detroit and Simpson nobody on base. It's Boston 7, Baltimore 1 at the end of 6.5 innings of play. Baltimore batting for the final time. Washington and New York in the American League were rained out. Going into the top half of the 7th inning now, St. Louis Cardinal fans, and there are a few here, finishing their 7th inning stretch. For the Redbirds, it will be Ramos and LaFond or a pinch batter, and the top of the batting order, Wally Moon, the base ball hitter. So Bert Falswood got that 11-run lead. Let's see if he can hold it. Okay, Jack, fine and dandy. Let's see what we can do here. And Paul Minter's going out the left side of practice throw. Well, this has been some ball game, and it's very reminiscent of what happened last year. We saw the opening of the Chicago Cubs and St. Louis Cardinals. The Cubs pointed off in the third of 13-4. So Cardinals still have a couple of runs to pick up before they equal last year's score. The Cubs have already done so. Well, Paul Minter firing in those practice throws, and Alex Gramus is going to be the leadoff man. Alex is flying to right, and he's grounded out his 2 previous trips. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are keeping the down there in the bullpen. Wolford, right-handed, so apparently they're going to use a pinch hitter for LaFond. LaFond did all right when he was in there. 2 hits and no runs. One and struck out 3. There's the strike around the infield. Oh, this is the Gaelic Cajun now. They like to come in. We have a band and everything. Entertainment and a great afternoon. Elliott is going to bat for LaFond. There's the windup of the first one to Alex Gramus. He takes the ball to go outside. Ball 1. The Cleveland Indians are beating the White Sox 5-1 at the end of 6. Let's see if we have anything later on that. I guess not. Ball 1 strike count. Here's the next pitch. It's the ball low and outside. Ball 2. The Boston Red Sox beat Baltimore 7-1. Baltimore hasn't won a game yet. They lost yesterday to Washington. Ball 2 with no strikes. Gramus, the leadoff man, here in the first half of the 7th inning. There's up Moody, right over the heart of the plate. Watch him go by to make it 2-1. Ball 2 is strike 1. Cubs and the Cardinals, crowd of around 30,000. They haven't announced the official attendance yet. Here's the windup for that. But the ground ball back to the shortstop. Bing goes up, drops the ball. Can't make a play. That'll probably be the first sub out of the ball game. It's an error on Cinco Bank. The first sub out of the ball game. seventh inning. And attendance should be coming along any minute now. It's an overbooked out of the first team today, believe me. Right to chance. Harry Elliott batting to the pitcher, LaPalm. There's the next one, and he just missed down around these days. Tried to fool him on one, he wouldn't go for it. The Cardinals will have used 5 pitches when Mosley comes in the last half of the game. Hitter has gone all the way. He won 11 and lost 11 last year. And as the next pitch is a ball, it's wide. In his Major League career, he's won 16 games for the Cardinals, and more than he won for many other clubs. Ball 2 and strike 2. The original Cardinal Taylor out there. Well, if you get 13 runs, you ought to win something. Here's the pitch. There's a hard strike to the ground. Baker's up with the ball. Out of the second. Out. The relay to first base. Out. Double play and up goes. And what a play by Baker. Bingo to Finally, and lightning round on a hot strike to Baker's left. He prevented a base hit there. Beautiful. The Cardinals must be wondering what you have to do to come up with a base hit. Or a rally. That's the tough second double play of the ball game, and it brings up all the games. Oh, he's got it out, struck out, he's got it out. First team is two, it comes out of play. Here's Vinny starting in the windup now. There's a strike right over the heart of the plate down high. Watch the ball go by. Strike one call. Fulford will be the Cardinals' fifth pitcher. And he comes up in the last half of the seventh. Then he winds up again. There's the third ball is high inside to make it 1-1. All those double plays can break up a promising rally in a hurry. Wow, somebody on. He's up down to 1-1. Ball winds up again. There's the next pitch of the swing, and it's fouled down off to the right. 1-2. Ball 1, strike 2. Left-hand hitters. 1-2 count. Then he's ready again. There's the next pitch. A line drive in the right field for a base hit. Baker with all the ability. Can't come up with that one. That's for sure. There's a throw back in by Bombos. Money Moon gets his first hit in the ball game. And hit number 7 off the pitching of Palmetti. The man on first base with 2 men out and comes up another left-handed batter. Bill Verdon, the center fielder. Gets 2 for 3 to second. He gets a solid double and he's flying to right field. The double is off the wall. Palmetti ready. Here comes the pitch. Verdon waves with a curveball and he's down the middle and straight up to the head. Strike 1. Well, let's hope by Thursday that this place is back in normal operating condition when we have that team from Crosby to Cincinnati. Strike 1 count. Pitcher swinging a foul right at Harry Steve. Big Harry picks it up and fires it back to Vinny. It's a strike 2 count. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing today, fans, we hope you're enjoying the broadcast. I only wish that you could have been out here for opening day. There's an opening sequence. Foul ball back to Baker. Tito goes over, juggles the ball, still picks it up and fires it. Making the bank to retire the side. A point out. He had a little trouble getting a handle on that, but he got it. Go on. 1 hit. 1 error. 1 nobody left on. And the score is and the score at the end of the first half of the 7th inning out here. The Chicago Cubs 13 and the St. Louis Cardinals 2. Broadcast to the Midwest Baseball Network. Well, it's still 7:26, fans. How about a couple of minutes now? Let's get up to 4 runs and 16 starters. What do you think? You know what a bright sight was? It's a good ball game and a warm something out of everything. Oh, it's a real picture, isn't it? And another kind of picture is when you finally get tired and you take the family off to the woods and the water. Now, there's an occasion when I told Coca-Cola in the top. You know, Coca-Cola has good taste all its own. And then, too, when you feel the heat and then it's the energy, oh, it's wonderful how Coca-Cola brings you back so refreshed, so quickly. Not only does half an average piece of drink. Now,
lot of men racing around the base paths, and 13 have scored. Here's Bobby, who has 2 hits and 4 official hits. The first 2 times up, he's seen 2 hits, and he scored on the run. Third, and custody, he popped up. Ball outside for ball 3. On a first, getting the base on ball. All 3 in those spots. Seems like he's the hitter. He's the windup the next pitch. There's another ball. Ball 4. Watching. So to start off the last half of the 7th. Here we go again. Cubs have had 7 walks issued to them today. After the division of their 14 hits. There's a lot of men racing around the base paths, and 13 have scored. Here's Bobby, who has 2 hits and 4 official hits. The first 2 times up, he's doing 2 hits, and he's scored on the run. He's gone out in the third, and in the custody, he popped up. And look for a sacrifice. Third baseman, Boyer Jr. The ball is inside away. And he hasn't put over a strike yet. Third from Wolford. Finding the strike zone a little harder to find with the regulations in the minors. That's harder to high last year. Ball 1, no strikeout. That's the taking away from value over there. So the next pitch is a beauty right over the high to the play. Down high, 1-1. That's the first strike. Wolford has been able to get over it. Ball 1 is strike 1. All 2 fans are having half as much fun listening as we had broadcasting today. This is a big day. 1-1. Baker edges away again, waves his arms. There's a swing of a fly ball to left center field. Brace going over. The left fielder, Wally Moon, is up there and takes it for out number 1. There's a throw back in. The Baker hurries back. Wally Moon, the left fielder, caught that fly ball. Here's Hank Sauer. Henry's having quite a day for himself. 3 singles, doubles. 1 RBI. And the fans of those think this would be a perfect day if Henry would just get one out of the ballpark. Would be Hank Sauer, number 9. Baker is first. Baker the leadoff, not too far. Here's the 17-12. Henry lines one up towards the wall in left field, way back. He bounces off the top of the wall. There's Baker racing into third base. He's going to hold up, and Sauer is going into second base with a double. That ball was about 4 feet from the top of the wall out there. It's on the center field with a 368-foot line. And that is Henry's 4th hit of the day. 4 for 5 is good at anybody's league. Baker held up the third. Hank Sauer's on second. There's 1 out. Ranford Jackson is coming up. Randy had a homer, but first time he was up today. Tip number 1 off Wolford. And now he's going to come into. They're going to play it a little bit. Ranford Jackson, right-handed batter. Last time in the 7th inning. With a 7th leading first, he's just 2 runners on second and third, only 1 out. Randy's playing down here to batting spot. Sauer on second, Baker on third. Wolford started to wind up, Tyler's ball. That's the backstop for a moment. Wire from John and Bob Ricketts. Good luck and best wishes for 1965. That is one. The catcher went out to the mound and talked to Wolford for a moment. Now he's dropped back behind the plate. Randy Jackson, number 2. Into the batter's box. He looks at third. Lines up. Here comes the pitch. Jackson takes the inside strike on his belt. Inside part of the plate. Strike 1. Well, the Cubs, if they win this game, will be leading the National League tonight. With 2 victories and no losses. Milwaukee, if they beat Cincinnati, will be second with 1 win. The ball is inside. Ball 1 is strike 1. The Phillies and Pittsburgh and Brooklyn, their games are rained out on East today. The Washington Redskins was also rained out of the country today. 1-1 to Randy Jackson. The wind-up for that pitch. Second and 10. Line drive in the right field. So bang, bang. 1 run is going to score. It looks like the second baseman might catch the ball, and as a result, Sauer held up at second base until he saw the ball going to the right field. That's
got to be the best. And the field of refreshment, the title goes to Coca-Cola by Long Island. Johnny, what a wonderful drink Coca-Cola is. Now, refreshing a bit of quick energy. It's nice when you know that Coca is calories and half an hour juicy breakfast. So enjoy delicious ice cold Coca-Cola. Get several cups of Coca-Cola. Remember, 4 generations of Coca-Cola by far the most asked-for soft drink in the world. Well, here we go in the 8th inning of this ball game. Let's take a look at the other scores. See how they're coming along. At the end of 8 innings of play, they play within 5. The Chicago White Sox might have a fight on that quickly. The Detroit Tigers 2 and Kansas City 2 at the end of 5 innings. Boston Red Sox beat Baltimore 7-1. Final score, the Milwaukee Brewers beat Cincinnati 4-2. 4 runs, 2 hits, no errors. Cincinnati 2 runs, 7 hits, 1 error. Here's the 8th inning coming up. Dan the Man has 1, 2 terrific. 3 official pitches. Boy, what a ball player this guy is. Stan the Steak Man Musial. I understand Stan and Sticky now have 2 steakhouses in St. Louis. Is that right? He doesn't have to worry when he sees ball play things at all. There's ball 1 on one side for Musial. That man hit his 6th. About the middle way. You never know where to play Musial. You put 5 in left field line. Musial just hits them where they're big. But that doesn't make any difference to Musial where they're pitched either. Most of the stuff either. It's on a line. Ball 1 and strike 1. He had a 4-year last year. He had 330. 1-1 count. Then he winds up again. There's an upset to slow there, but he hits the foul. But that's the line. That ball is back into the seats. It's swimming in for one of the customers. Well, we haven't announced the attendance yet. Ball 1, strike 2 count. Danny bounces up and down. He's rolling down. So he's lined up the next third. There's a ground ball to Baker. He plays up the ball. Picks it up. There's a peg. He's got it anyhow. Baker had a little trouble getting a handle on that one. But he fired the ball to first to Sheffield. It was running fast for the first time. That'll bring up Mr. Fondy, the right fielder. Just like this year. There have been 7 hits off of him. It's up on a total of 16 hits on 5 cycle pitches. That's the 14-2. Here in the 8th, there's 1 run out and nobody on to take over. Triple ball. There's a swing down in the foul and rolls on the ground to the right. possession of something. The runner probably wouldn't have scored, but that's too deep. I can't take that fastball. I'm trying to describe what's going on. Strike one. There's the next pitch. High drive to the left center for a base hit. It's Change. He catches in for the day. There's a pick up by right as a throw back to the second. He holds on it. For the line drive signal. That's hit number 8. Off ball runner. And it brings up a right-handed batter. Ted Boyer. It was appeared to be a little bit jittery there at third base. He's taking 2 balls, 3 strikes. Five to right field. Back to warm up for the Cardinals. There's a pitch to Boyer. It's a fastball outside for a ball. Ball 1. 2 out. Davies on first base. Top half of the top leading 14 to 2. Boyer swings that bat around a couple of times. Fires on the outside corner of the ball. 1. Ball 1 and strike 1. Riddle coaching at third base. He hasn't had too much traffic around third. 1-1 count. There's the next pitch again. It's a long fly ball to left field, and it's there. It's going to be out of here. It is a high drive over the left field third. A cross lane with Avenue, and Boyer just takes it down the middle. It's more savings ahead of him as the Tigers trail 14 to 4. A home run by Ted Boyer over the left field wall. A fence to play with Avenue. Hit number 9 off hitter. Runs number 3 and 4. And the Bengals come to life. Briefly here in the top half of the 8th. The overall game is never over. The last man is out. Here's the starter. Complete by 10 runs now. 14 to 4. Still standing for hitter, big number 16. Here's Ritter's line out to the third. So it's a tight on the outside corner of the lead. Like one ball. Milwaukee, big Cincinnati, 4-2 up there. County Stadium in Milwaukee. We're up there next Monday and Tuesday. Next one down. Ball, down, ball, is ready again. There's the next pitch is high outside for the ball. Ruger got it 1-1. Well, William was a little bit, but this time he's got anywhere close to 9 innings. He's run 8 so far, and 7 2/3 rather. Ball 1 and strike 1. Here's the next pitch. A swing on there. It's 1-2. Cleveland beat the White Sox 5-1. Cleveland 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. The White Sox 1 run, 5 hits, and no error. Opening game over in Cleveland. The White Sox over see the first hit Thursday. And Kaminsky flash against Kansas City. Here's the pitch to 1-2. Ball by outside. Ball 2 and strike 2. Bill Sonny trying to get a hole in 1 and keep this going. Chicago 14, St. Louis 4. Here's the pitch, and he places the ball. Cut out of play. Probably made the play. The ball walks to the back. Diamondback boy having a little trouble with that foul ball off the net. 2-2 count. All the other games are all over the country. Here's a pretty close ball game. This is high outside for a ball. Playing the last half of the 6th inning of that strike. Kansas City unit 2-2. As they have a big crowd in Kansas City. 3-2. Watches out. Here comes the pitch. There's a foul ball. Bounces off the plate and rolls over to the wall to the left. Backwards was over to get it. He's out of range of 3-2. Bill Sonny has had nothing for 3. Ball 3, strike 2. There's his wind out for the next pitch comes in. A ground ball to Jackson. He's up with it. There's a back to him. King is out for the time. Third to first, 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, nobody left on. The end of the first half of the 8th inning of Wrigley Field in Chicago. The score is the Chicago Cubs 14, St. Louis Cardinals 4. The story of the ball game for the Midwest Baseball Network. If you're like a lot of other guys, you often help your wife with weekend food shopping. Yes, the weekend. That's the much greens, repairs, lots of hard jobs you have to do. So you better figure out how to have plenty of ice energy. We'll certainly be delighted. Our coach brings you back to his place to get 2 calories of fat and average juicy grape. What a fun. Remember, when you're shopping in the valley, have a carton of Coke for the weekend. It's our office to understand why 4 generations have made Coca-Cola by far the most soft drink in the world. Well, they just announced the attendance. We're going into the last half of the game. The Cardinals will have one more chance. That's your way out in front. The broadcast is WIND in Chicago. There's the total, 26,163. This is the largest open day attendance at Wrigley Field. It comes from the Pittsburgh Pirates way back in 1949. They had 29,396. The attendance today, 26,153. My guess is 30,000. If I accepted my guess of 25,000 in the first place, instead of letting Posey Brown have the engineer Proby, would have guessed at 31,200, I'd have been better out. Steve, what in there? Michael, you stick to your sentences, buddy. Like, let's go. Harry City. You know, I found out the engineers are hungry out there. So I don't think you have a sweater on the bus. There's a flying right over the height of the play. Beauty. Harry City is so far today. He's got 20. That's 3 times. He walked the last time up. Open. He's ready. Here comes the next one. Oh, it's fast fire. It was high and outside. It's got away from the Milwaukee beat Cincinnati 4-2. Cleveland beat the White Sox 5-1. Boston beat Baltimore 7-1. And the Cubs are leading out here 14-4 over the St. Louis Rams. Ball one, right up down the next third. Now ball back to the mound. Here's Bolford has it. There's a on the way. Harry City bounces back to the pitch of the first. And it brings up Paul Miller, who should get a nice round of applause as he comes out. There he comes, Paul Miller. The Cubs have an open day tomorrow. And it is tomorrow night for Cincinnati to beat the Red Legs again. Play them on Thursday. Bob Rush is scheduled to pitch. Might be on college for Cincinnati. They were the starting pitchers yesterday. Neither lasted very long. There's a ball that's low inside, ball one. Down in Cincinnati on Thursday. By the way, you know, Sunday is the grand day. The whole family out to beautiful Wrigley Field. Enjoy it. Not out to the baseball. You want to be sure to be out here for that first big doubleheader of the year with the Cubs and Colorado Cincinnati Redskins on Sunday, April 27th. For the best price and seat, order your tickets now. Then you check your money orders. $2.50 for each box seat, up to $1.85 for children under 14. To the ticket manager, Wrigley Field, Chicago 1-3. Well, this is the night. And Benner is still crossing in his second stretch. The attendance today was 26,000, well, that's 53 the highest since 1949 for opening day. Setting to Jura Amour is warming up in the bullpen. See you live. This. Six man. Hang around the infield. Over the bank to Jackson and back to Miller. It's all the way as he tries to rack up his first win of the year. As did Brad Jones yesterday in relief over Cincinnati. Alex Gravel, the first out, will be a 10 hitter. Calling Hemus, I